Hello, hello. We are live from the Hive. Good to see everybody. I got uh I got Miss Lemon with me tonight,
Guys.
looking fabulous in her. We pulled up the picture so you could see the style she was going for on her
Yeah,
makeup
I
tonight.
really want to thank Skeptics and Scoundrels for this one. So when I
Uh-huh.
saw this, and then it was, Bree was like, "Hey, do you have a moment? You can join me, And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." Um, this was the only thing that came to mind, and so I did realize with this makeup, it does kind of work with the mean anti glasses. I think that pulls it together a little bit better. We're gonna go with that, and I don't know why my green screen thinks this is green because it's
It's
blue.
not when the light catches it with the
I guess.
surrounding colors. I
I
guess.
guess. It's just
Yeah.
this is too much. It's the makeup is too powerful.
All
So
right.
we're just gonna go with this, I think.
Let me get you
Thank
down
you
from the
for having
solo
me on.
layout. Yeah. There's our goal. And
You hate wasps. Oh, I'm sorry. Should we? Because I've got a guy and I've got a guy. See, I'm sorry about that.
why is
I
it
don't know.
not
Should we
letting me
change
take it out
it?
of
Should we change
solo
it to
mode?
something
It just,
else? Just
I
like
guess the
honey or
system just
something?
loves you.
I'm not 100% sure.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, I was like, what happened? This ain't my
No,
show.
I'm still here.
Yeah, maybe the green screen is one of them. There you go,
Yeah,
Ransom. That's good.
yeah.
That's good.
And hello everybody in the side chat. I see a whole bunch of new people. You brought some friends with you. It looks like Miss Lemon. Are these are people probably people from Twitter, huh? Hello
Yeah,
everybody.
from Twitter and then from our Discord. So that's it. Yeah. So we
Welcome
just
to the Hive. I'm still working on setting up to do a show with guests. I usually do my show solo on Saturday mornings, so I do live from the Hive, and we talk about all kinds of wild stuff. But I am trying to start branching out and having some friends come on to talk about some stuff. And Miss Lemon has graciously agreed to appear with me on tonight's broadcast. We are talking about who is Denis Hovind, which is a kind of a strange topic for me to be bringing up, but you'll understand. Denis Hovind is a sort of an algorithm experiment that I'm performing. But before I get too much into that, I do want to give Miss Lemon the floor for a second, just to introduce herself, other than her fantastic makeup and that she pulled together in like 20 minutes. Seriously, we pulled this together. Go for
Yeah,
it.
I was really excited to be able to come on because normally I'm at work right now. So I live in South Korea and it is 11:10 a.m. So I'm normally at work, but it is Lunar New Year, so a lot of us have the week off, which is pretty awesome, I gotta say. I've been on YouTube since I guess 10 years now, and I am a ex Christian who explored other religions and ultimately came to atheism. So I do a lot of like Q&A about atheism and Christianity, as well as reading and reacting to different things. Because as great as a lot of these other atheist YouTube channels are, where they do a lot of research before they make the video, it can kind of sometimes give the impression that in order to have these conversations, you have to do all this research. And so I like to just kind of fresh react to it just to show these are some of the questions you can ask, even though you may not have like a complete historical background. So it's just kind of have fun on my channel.
Oh yeah. So that's why you're perfect for this because that's who Dennis Sovin is. He's this kind of I tried
Perfect
to
name.
because
I just have perfect name.
yeah
Great.
I could not use that name. Dennis Hovind, the Denisovin was the name, and and you guys, some of you people out there may recognize that name from trolling your comment section and stuff because I despite this person being the algorithm being sculpted towards more of a right leaning Christian creationist ideology, because that's what I was trying to do. Because if you don't realize that when you're making content where you respond to it's when once you develop your algorithm on your channel, it's really hard to get the content to be presented to you that you're looking for. It's hard to it's hard to find. You have to like actually search the names of the videos and stuff to try to get them. It's frustrating. So creating a separate account to build an algorithm where it would feed me this type of content directly. And tonight is going to be the first time I've went public with it. And I do go out and subscribe my friends' accounts on here too. So, and I will troll your comment section or your side chat too with this account as this individual. And it's because I am trying to build this whole persona of a person that can have this algorithm feeding them and the way they interact with the community and things. I don't know if they look for keywords, but I'm going to comment on atheist videos like I'm a creationist and try to see if whatever keywords I can get to trigger this algorithm. But let me just show you guys, because this is what it looks like. This is his main feed. You got Denis up here, and we got some stuff that some channels that we're familiar with. Of course, there we are, because Denis is subscribed to the Hive. But here we got Evidence and Reason. That's Sal Cordova. He's a young Earth creation scientist.
Started drinking at 13 and it went downhill from there. You know, if you're in a situation where you're drinking at 13, I think you're already on the way downhill. You know, this is not like a good situation to be in. So I don't know.
Yeah, we got some
all of this makeup. I'm sorry, I keep picking my face.
No, you're fine. Yeah, if I was all, yeah, I mean, I got a little bit of, I don't know, I should say a little bit. I've got plenty of makeup on because I knew I was going to be up here with Miss Lemon looking freaking hot, and I had to look hot too.
Oh yeah,
you always look gorgeous.
Like a hot mess is what we're thinking here.
Oh, remember your werewolf makeup from what was that, your Halloween video, right?
Yeah, it was one of the Halloween chick tracks. That was fun. I tried to get my hair as big as I could, which works pretty well if we've got like curly, fluffy hair.
You totally looked like the villain from like an 80s
that was, yeah, I just kind of wanted. I've been doing a lot of 80s stuff lately. I was in a live stream with Prophet of Zod, Apologia's live stream channel, and I went with like an 80s satanic panic look. I wanted to do the, what is it, girl defined makeup, but it was just, I don't know. You know, sometimes it's nice to have the no makeup look, but when you're on a camera, it's just more fun to be dramatic. So
I just now learning to have fun with my makeup and stuff. I learned to put this little white dash on the side of my nose when I'm on camera, and it makes my nose look, you know.
Yeah, it's a whole, like, there's makeup and then there's makeup for the camera. It's got to be overdone. So I didn't, you know, as much as I hated how I looked with all this bold blue, I thought, nah, that's what you need to have, you know, to show up on the camera.
Well, what you're trying to pull off, the look that you're trying to pull off does require that contrast. You got to have.
It does.
As much. This isn't something that someone would wear.
The auntie who swore she just quit drinking, but you know her Diet Coke has vodka.
Yeah, we got, let's see, we got rapture warnings, the mark of the beast, end time giants, got answers in Genesis telling us the Native Americans weren't the true people. And this is from Dr. Nathaniel Jeanson, by the way, too. I'll have to dig into that a bit. Not actually Native.
Feminist festival crashed by Crowder in underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that even...
Denis is a Steven Crowder fan as well. So I have a conservative cousin who said, "Hey, I asked her what podcast you listen to and stuff, and this is the one." She actually has a T-shirt, Denis Crowder or Steven Crowder T-shirt, and it's like, "Oh, you must be a big fan." I listened to some of the stuff that he puts out though, and I'm not feeling it. He's definitely he's very like transphobic and
gasp, what a surprise.
Yeah, but we got like a werewolf caught on camera and stuff like that.
I like the whatever's going on with this like blackface Sambo caricature. Boy,
banned for 50 years. Well, this is just about banned cartoons. This channel's actually pretty, it's historical, but it talks about some darker stuff about history and stuff. So
perfect choice of words there.
Yeah, yeah. This is. I'm sure this is provocative on purpose.
Yeah, it could be something else, right?
Right.
So what goodness are we gonna get into?
Yes.
Or
So
much
I
of this?
thought we could just start by I just see what kind of shorts this sucker
Okay.
gives us. You want to see?
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's
yeah.
dive right in.
Oh, Megiddo. Okay,
13
great.
says, and I saw three
Revelation
unclean
16:13
spirits like frogs
says, and I saw the
come out of the
unclean
mouth of
spirits
the
like
dragon,
frogs come
and out of the mouth of the beast,
dragon,
and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
and out of the mouth of the
For they are the
false
spirits of
prophet.
devils
They are
working
the spirits
miracles
of
which go
devils working
forth
miracles which
unto the
go
kings
forth
of the earth
unto
and of the
kings
whole
the
world to
earth,
gather
and of the
them
whole
to the
world to gather
battle
them
of
to the
that
battle
great day
of that great
of
day
God
of God
Almighty.
Almighty.
Behold, I come
Behold,
as
I
a
come
thief.
as a
Blessed
thief.
is he that watcheth
Blessed
and keepeth
is
his
he
garments,
that
lest he walk
watcheth and
naked,
keepeth and
and
something
they see
something,
his
lest he
shame.
walk naked
And
and
he
they see
gathered them
his shame.
together
And he
into a
gathered them
place in the
together,
Hebrew
placed
tongue,
them in the Hebrew
Armageddon.
tongue, Armageddon. Okay.
Revelation
Oh, so
16:13.
what are we getting from this? You know,
This is so
like legit Megiddo.
this is literally it's like Stephen Anderson's church. This is Liberty Baptist Church, what they put out. Like frogs come from the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet, for they are spirits of devils.
You know, I remember back as a Christian, I thought, oh, how profound. Oh my goodness, what could this mean? And it's just, maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's just somebody's, you know, psilocybin influenced dreaming.
I muted the narrator because I preferred Miss Lemon talking to the narrator too. Could you even hear the narrator?
I couldn't. That's why I was reading it out loud.
Okay, tell me if you can hear it now.
I don't
like
assume that
frogs
people watch.
Come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false
so I try to
prophet.
narrate what's happening.
For they are the spirits of death.
You know what? It must not be sharing the. Hold on, we're gonna stop screen share for a second, and I'm going to reshare this with the audio. Sorry about that. It's just being a pain. They changed the way that you share these things.
You can read it. Hello, what the heck?
Let's do it this way. There we go. Tell me if you can hear it now.
Devils working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty.
I can hear it, but I don't want it. I felt bad reading this because I felt like, oh, I can't read it straight because it's in these weird chunks that are broken up in unusual places in the sentence, and then I hear him reading it the same way. So, you know, what's the point?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Let's see if there's anything more fun on here.
The difference between fallen angels and demons is a simple one. Fallen angels can manifest corporeally. We read in the Bible a number of times where angels interact with humans and do physical things. They eat a meal with Abraham. They eat a meal with Gideon. They fight with the citizens of Sodom and things like that. Angels can appear in physical form. They can actually do physical things too, because we read in Genesis chapter 6 about the angels who saw that the human women were fair and chose wives, or perhaps just took wives. Demons, on the other hand, are totally spirit. They need to inhabit a physical body.
So,
okay,
this all seems like extra biblical stuff to me, but
yeah, actually, the part about the angels that came to the daughters of men, that's very briefly referenced right before the flood, and it's actually it's like totally explained in the book of Enoch. I did a reading of that, so if you guys are interested,
with the Nephilim and all that.
Yeah, and so basically, it was like these guys were like the caretakers of humans, and they had knowledge of stuff like metallurgy and makeup. So they had to keep it away from the people, and they just they fell in love with humans. They just thought that we were endearing in a way, and God wasn't watching nothing. So they show up and they start giving them, again, these ideas of metallurgy, medicine, makeup, a lot of M's for some reason. And eventually the other angels show up to Yahweh and they're like, yeah, they're like making weird babies. And Yahweh's like, excuse me? This was happening on my non-watch. So he gets up out of his throne. He's really upset. Kind of weird that the other angels had to notify him. But I don't know. Have you ever heard about people
I
like
thought he
this
was
guy
omnipresent.
talking so authoritatively about, oh yeah, well, we know the difference between fallen angels and demons because even though neither of them have evidence, we have characters in the story. I mean, such a, you know, how
Oh, I suppose we could make a case that he's talking about the literary difference, but
that's all I can think of. But you know, he believes in this stuff, right?
yeah, and so the pantheon of demons in most modern Christian belief systems, these characters that show up, you like Moloch and Baal, they were gods of other cultures before before they were demons of biblical history or whatever, biblical folklore, and it's strange that you can have a robust and well understood history of these characters from, you know, the other Canaanite groups, other Canaanite people groups that had culture and ideas about these entities, and then you still want to claim that they're just demons in disguise.
I mean, that's how we believed, you know, back in my Pentecostal days. It was literally that Satan and his angels, that's how they always referred to it, Satan and his angels had gone into other cultures and convinced them to believe in other religions just to get them away from God. So this idea that, you know, like Pan, for example, that idea of like Satan as the goat-legged man, that, you know, definitely comes from Pan. And so it's like, oh yeah, no, that's believable. That's believable that it was the devil. I don't know why though that God would give the devil so much power. That's the part I'm really confused about.
Right, that much
I
control
have a
over
student
creation.
that's like acting a fool in the class. I just kind of send the student out of the class. I don't let them take control of the class and teach all the wrong stuff to the students. I mean, why would I? What purpose would that serve?
Yeah, it's like so God's not, maybe his omnipresence doesn't extend to the angels is the only thing I can think is that's the proposition, you know, maybe the angels can exist independently from that. Or maybe it was he wasn't omnipresent in the garden back. Well, I mean, we're not talking about the garden either. We're talking about like between casting them out of the garden and the flood. Those days that's the period that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be like a 2,000 year period or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure because I think the Earth is 6,000 years old, and there's the genealogies that they add up.
It's based on the genealogies, but also just the age of people. That was the other thing. Like, oh well, if they're 900 years old, then one generation's 900 years, things like that.
Yeah.
So when they say like 3 generations passed, we're like, yes, 2,700 years.
It's such a bizarre take. Let's see what his conclusion is on telling the difference.
In order to interact with us in the physical plane, or you know, they can oppress us, which, you know, can be a feeling of depression or dread, anxiety. Difference between fallen.
So I don't think that's a good idea to blame
There's
some
an emergency. Stop.
yeah. Blame
Absolutely
medical stuff on demonic entities. That is bad. If somebody that you care about starts doing that, you need to you need to at least suggest that they. And that's a big problem in. Well, you said you were Pentecostal, right?
Oh yeah.
Instead of going to
that was like that was one of the things
instead,
I had
right?
to tell like a school counselor something about my depression because I just really wanted to get treated for it. I didn't accept that this was a demonic thing, and so they had to like require that my mother took me to see someone, and she did. She took me to see somebody just as a just to meet the bare minimum of the requirement, and that was it. So she was spoken to by the therapist after we had our session, And I didn't get to hear what the therapist had said. So I thought, great, what does this mean? Am I on medication? Am I going to start feeling better? And she said, no. The woman said that she's an atheist. She doesn't even believe in the demonic, but with your daughter, it's obvious that it's demonic oppression. That's what she told me. And I just accepted it. I never questioned it until I thought about it much later, thinking, what? No, of course she wouldn't say that. This is at a medical facility. This was not like a religious medical thing or like a Christian Science doctor, you know. This is something my mom just totally made up in order to just convince me to stop seeking any help outside of the church. And so, of course, now you're having this trouble, and this happened too after I got disabled in the military. You have this trouble with your body, and you're being told by good Christians that the reason that you're having this trouble is because you're not praying hard enough, you don't have a good enough faith. Something you did, you know, they keep bringing up the story of Job. Job thought he was doing everything right, but he wasn't. I guess they never read the end where Job didn't do anything wrong. It was God just messing with him. But yeah, you start feeling, not only am I suffering physically or mentally, but on top of that, I now am suffering spiritually, because now I have to rack my brain wondering where I went wrong. What am I doing that's so sinful and terrible that God has removed his blessing to allow me to become disabled, to allow me to become depressed? And it doesn't help whatsoever. It just doesn't.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, what do you call this? Is it abuse? Is it neglect? It's hard to not look at it and say this is a case of someone doing this.
You know, people bring that up. They bring up this idea of like religion as child abuse, and I guess I would see it more as just neglect from pure ignorance, like the parents that try to pray away, you know, type 1 diabetes or something, and then their kids die. I don't think they're doing this out of spite, right? They're doing it because they really, really, really believe this is the right thing to do. And it's one of those things that kind of makes me wonder, how come there's no license to be a parent yet, you know? And when people talk, as soon as you say that, people talk about eugenics and they call you a Nazi and stuff. But but at the same time, why don't we have some kind of class that you have to pass before you become a parent, or once you find out that you're going to start a family intentionally? Why don't we have some kind of class for this? Because this is ridiculous. Even if you don't believe it, to at least show you this is what the law says. So if you don't want to get in trouble with the law, you should comply in this way. You know, okay, maybe you don't believe that you should get a blood transfusion, but if you let your kid die for some reason like this, you are legally responsible. You know, it's just, you should be religious all you want, but don't put your kids at risk, you know?
Yeah. And that's, you know who Emma Thorne is, right? I had her on my show just a couple days ago. This same type of show. She released a video today about none other than Kent Hovind promoting this 10-year-old's YouTube channel where they do counter apologetics. That's where I was like, you know, because it's clearly the parents, you know, it's a 10-year-old, so an adult has to be responsible for that
Sure.
page, and using your kids, putting your kids out in front of pseudoscience. I saw on I don't remember what the channel was, but they had the MAGA kids that were talking about Joe Biden is the children and things like that.
Yeah.
Predator. But where do you draw the line on what you can tell? And you can't. Let's say it's my libertarian right to tell my children whatever I want to tell them and teach them whatever about reality that I want to teach them. And that's a problem, because we're getting to a point in our society where a certain demographic of people is fully in denial of reality and are wanting to present that as we get we have rights to our alternative reality.
Yeah, and that's where I think the big problem comes in. Mark Reed says in the chat, it's hard to categorize if they believe they're helping you. Is it neglect? And I think that we should forget this idea that children are property of their parents. we should think about it as these children are in my charge. They are in my care. And if I cannot provide them adequate care based on evidence-based medicine, for example,
it's hard to write laws like about that,
right.
though. If something's
And
someone's
you know,
in your care.
why should, like, we would not accept that for any other situation, right? If my boss refused to let me see a doctor so he could pray over me instead, and refused to let me leave the campus so that I could get medical care, and
even a spouse,
that would be horrible. We would say this guy's nuts. But then to have a child who doesn't know better, doesn't have that autonomy and understanding that I am a person, I can go get my own medical care, goodbye. And then they don't have the means, they don't have, you know, any kind of way to drive or pay for this, or even know where the doctor's at, to say, oh, that's okay because the parents want it. Like, we need to stop the idea of the parents doing this for the children. It preserves the parents' sense of self. It's a parental ego. That's what I feel like. It's this idea that I should be able to do this at my children because I like it.
It used to be that way for spouses too, once upon a time. It's not anymore now. Well, I mean, I'm sure in some circles it is. And there's situations that people find themselves in where they have a controlling spouse like that. But generally, as far as what's socially accepted, you don't get that kind of control over your spouse anymore.
Right. And legally, you have that control over your child.
Right.
And I don't see how that's okay to say you can deny your child legal or medical help if you genuinely believe it's your religious right. Like the idea of, well, you can refuse a vaccine for religious reasons. As an adult, that's a different discussion. But as a child, the child isn't refusing anything based on religious whatever. It's the parent that's refusing it on behalf of the child. So we have to hope.
What's the terminology?
How can we tell the parent, okay, well, we know and understand how vaccines work, but your religious sensitivities towards your kid override their health and safety. How could we possibly say that to the children? That's horrifying. That's absolutely horrifying.
Yes, and the notion of and most of those people that have that kind of ideology, they're not big on public schools anyway. But there's a lot of homeschooling and things like that. However, if your children are going to be interacting with other people's children, you have a social obligation when it comes to things like that. Absolutely. All right, let's see what's next on this list here.
Women were told to listen to their god, the Lord of the Rings, so they were wearing an ear ring. Men were to get married before Saturn, their god, so they would wear a wedding ring. Consequently, the king would be crowned before Saturn. Saturn would be the round crown or the corona, the ring. We know that Saturn was referred to as El, E-L. El is a name that was given to the planet Saturn. And therefore, if you were worshiping Saturn, you represent the law, you are referred to in church today as an elder. How did you get to be an elder? You got to be an elder because you were one of the elites. How did you get to be an elite? You got elected because through elections. All of our system is based on
really reminds me of like how
words
some
and
people
terms.
say that Santa is Satan because it's an anagram. You know, like somebody had deliberately thought of that when we're thinking, you know, okay, Santa means saint in, you know, some Romance languages, right? Like in Spanish, for example, it's, you know, Santa Maria, right?
Yeah.
So it means that, but that's the reason that it's Santa in Spanish, because in English it can be Satan. You know, I mean, I for me, just looking at this, and I guess I'm not going to, you know, waste my time with it right now, but if I was the type of person who was interested in this type of video as a Christian, I would just look up the etymology of, now don't get too excited, Bree, I said etymology, not etymology. So etymology of, you know, elder and whatever. But what I kept thinking of was, what about Elohim?
Elohim,
like
yes.
The name of God, Elohim, you know, like, what about that?
El just means what in Hebrew El is most high, right?
It's and then it's also like the al, like the El and al. It's very similar because like the Hebrew and the Arabic are very similar kind of languages, like with shalom and assalamu alaikum and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's bizarre that they would just sweep right past that. Like, you think that'd be a little bit important?
The rest of the night, they could hear this thing crashing and screaming all throughout the woods near the house. And at one point or another, actually comes up to the porch and tries to open the door by prying it open. Travis's story goes all the way back to when he was hiking in the Appalachian Mountains back in 2015. Travis and his friend began to hear this strange screaming noise coming from the horse stables. Both him and his friend go out there and they find one of the horses dead. Going around to the side of the stables, they could see that something with immense strength had actually torn the stable door off and slashing the horse's throat inside open. Just in that moment, they hear a large crash that sounded like a small tree being ripped out of the ground, probably about 30 feet in the yards to the east. Turning their light and attention to face the east, where they can clearly see out of the stables into the woods, they are met with these two glowing yellow eyes looking back at them, reflecting from the eye shine. The rest of the night, they could hear this thing crashing and screaming all throughout the woods near the house. And at one point or another, actually comes up to the porch and tries to open the door.
That's looping back around.
Good loop. It's a good loop.
Yeah, he's got it nice and smooth there to keep it going.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so what?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously scary, right? Scary, but so what? What is this supposed to prove? What does this say? I can't see the
man witnesses something in the Appalachian Mountains, but we don't.
Oh, is this like a cryptid one? Not
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I got cryptid ones mixed in here too.
No,
it's anything, any bizarre beliefs is what I'm all about. I like.
Yeah, cryptids seem to make a little bit more sense than some of the religious claims.
Yeah, and this doesn't sound. This sounds like it might have been a bear or something. If it's even a real story, most of these are just creepy pastas that this guy does, which are just totally fictional. But
in the Bible and in numerous ancient texts, it is mentioned that giants once lived. Huge humanoids who once traveled the world. They are mentioned both in the Bible and in the Mahabharata, and similar stories can be found in Greek mythology, as well as in Aztec, Egyptian, Irish, or Basque traditions. In Aztec mythology, the Quinametsan giants.
What's that?
I said, okay, so what? There's a super big person. Now, I will say, because of reading, the Book of Enoch, these giants are giants. They are the size of mountains. They are 3 kilometers tall. And this was the reason that God had to flood the entire earth, because there was no other way to destroy these things. The people were being eaten. So as these giants were growing, everyone had to feed them. They would eat. They literally ate their parents out of house and home. They ate the village, and then they ate the villagers, and they just kept eating. So this idea that Goliath is just like a basketball star in terms of his height, no, that is not biblical. And I mean, that's kind of cool in a way. This idea of like a massive person, like a titan almost, not like from the anime, but like a titan from the Greek. This idea that there's like this ultra being and God will save you of it, and therefore you should respect God because he's protected us against these things, and this is why you should never listen to the angels. Even the angels can lie to you and deceive you and get you off track, but you got to stay with Yahweh. Otherwise, it's just going to be these big mountains eating people.
We don't know how good the orgasms that the angels gave them were, though. They might be worth it.
Yeah, right. I don't know. And in terms of these like Nephilim and stuff, that was kind of why Noah was considered to be the perfect man. So like if you read the Bible without the Book of Enoch, Noah's just like a drunk, and he's kind of a jerk father, and he's just like the town drunk. So how could he be the most perfect human? His DNA was uncorrupted. His children did not have sex with a Nephilim, or anyone who had sex with a Nephilim.
Here's a weird.
They didn't interact at all. That's how he was perfect. He was still a person.
Are you familiar with the Book of Noah?
No, not yet.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't want to give you too many spoilers, but Noah is not human in that book. I'll tell you that. He's definitely a Nephilim.
Oh, gross. But then how come he's not like 3 kilometers tall?
Well, he looks like, okay, so I'm good. So I'm not giving you spoilers. I'm gonna tell you the whole gospel of it. But they were okay. So the story tells of Noah's birth, right? And his father running to Enoch, who was his grandfather, Noah's grandfather.
Yeah, and he
right?
like shone light out of his mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Enoch ends.
And with Noah's birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he looked like one of the sons of God, one of the angels.
Yeah, he was shining and like out of his eyes and his mouth light came and he could speak in full sentences and was like praising Yahweh and all this stuff. He was like born as a newborn. He was obviously some kind of weird being. That's
and he's some of the interpretations have him describe him as albino, or that it sounds like he's albino in the way that it's described, which is interesting, and that would explain why albinism made it through the gene pool, I guess.
I guess, despite the fact that you're right next to the equator, although skin cancer.
Right, yeah, and he was out there building an ark under the sun for 40 years.
Were more than 10 meters long and weighed about 300 kilograms. According to what is described in Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4, the Nephites were the children of the sons
for sure.
of God,
I mean, but
and the
weren't they
daughters of
like
men
deliberately
before the flood.
photoshopped?
Yeah, it's like there's no
like it was for a Photoshop contest.
Yeah, there's no independent idea that these are. I mean, other than people in the underground and whatnot, there's nobody presenting these as real things, except for people like this.
Yeah.
Homer speaks of the giants as a huge and ferocious race.
Oh,
these
we
beings.
Have to pause it here too. Sorry. So the giants that Homer spoke about, the ancient Greeks, they were inspired and believed the giants because of elephant skulls. So that's why they're as like a cyclops as well. Because if you have a giant elephant skull, it's got this huge part for like the nasal cavity. It's just like a big hole in the middle of the skull. And this is why they're like, wow, this must be a huge one-eyed person.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I was just on Skeptic Haven like Monday night doing a stream about that. It was actually a species of mammoth that was they were dwarf mammoths. They were about the size of a buffalo, but they still, since they were proboscideans, they still had massive heads, and they were dwarfs, so they had kind of strange bodies too, and strange proportions. So yeah, there were all their bones together. It's like, oh, these were that's where the legend of the Cyclops comes from.
That's it. So yeah, we're not nothing too crazy here.
Yep.
If you want to know the identity of Gog and Magog according to the Bible, watch this video. Most people today think that Gog and Magog is a term referencing two different people. Most people think this because of Revelation 20 that says when the 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be released from his prison and will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog. But what you need to understand is that Revelation 20 is actually quoting from Ezekiel 38 and 39, which says this: Son of man, set your face toward Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. What Ezekiel clearly says is that Gog, the person, is of the land of Magog. And Gog...
So, do you follow that? Is Magog a place, and then Gog's the...
Yeah, so that's one of the things we were talking about on the live stream yesterday, was this idea that when you're recommended to read the Bible, they tell you to read the Gospels first, and then get to Revelation, and then go start at Genesis, which I always thought was really ridiculous. Wouldn't I want the foundation first? And so as you're reading through the Bible from Genesis, and you're not just kind of picking around and, oh, we're reading from Revelation today, whatever, you know that Gog and Magog, this is like a situation as he's describing. It's not these two separate people. So it is kind of I guess a recommendation to read the Bible straight through if you're going to read it. I mean, let's be honest, how many people in the chat were Christian and never read through the Bible? I only read through it because I wanted to preach it. I wanted to be a minister.
Yeah, I was never Christian, but the Christians that I know in my area none of them, at least none of them that I don't know, none of my friends ever like read the Bible or advised that they read it.
We kept being told to do it and how to do it, ways to make it manageable. There was like a 365-day devotional where you're supposed to get through the Bible in a full year. And they made it seem like it was this really big, arduous, optional task almost. Even though they kept encouraging us to read the Bible, they said that the sermons are like fast food. They're quick, they're easy to digest, but they're not the real nutrition that you need. You need to go home and read your Bible. That's the nutrition. Nobody did. You know, nobody does.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons it's so common that those of us that were Christian left Christianity after reading the Bible. It's very telling, I think. I'm surprised at people that read the Bible and stay Christian, quite honestly.
Well, there's lots of exegetes and stuff like that that they go about.
Gog, being of the land of Magog, is said to be the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Now that you understand that Gog is a person and Magog is a place, now we can move forward and actually discuss what the Bible is trying to tell us. Follow for part 2. If you want to know the...
Okay. Leave us hanging there, bro.
Jeez, yeah, I thought I was going to get some kind of end times education, but no.
I want to know what Obama has to do with it, because Obama's not even in any kind of position of power right now. How is he?
Obama and Maybama? I don't know.
Check this out, guys. This is a drone as it flies over Sichuan province of China, showing 30,000 isolation pods. And the scariest thing is this is not the only location of crazy amounts of isolation.
This looks like a farm. Doesn't this look like a farm? This looks kind of like chicken, like housing. Do you know what I mean? Or what are they called? Some kind of
check
greenhouse.
this.
They look like little greenhouses, kind of to me.
This is a drone as it flies over Sichuan province.
Some of them are open too.
I like that too. I mean,
isolation
do you see
pods
people walking in and out of these? You know, why should we believe it? Like, this guy doesn't even know it's pronounced province. Like, why should we believe that he has some kind of special knowledge? We don't even know if it's in Sichuan.
Yeah, there's no other than just him saying that that's what it is. But I don't. What kind of claim do you think he's going to attach to this? I think he's going to.
Okay. Something about the end times. The rivers, a third of the population dying, or the vaccine is killing people.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with vaccine. I think that's a good one. It may be, but communism may come up. There's a lot of red on the screen here.
A lot of red up here too, but I ain't communist.
Of China showing 30,000 isolation pods. And the scariest thing is
Does that look like 30,000 to you?
No.
Okay, not just me. Okay.
Few hundred, maybe.
The only location of crazy amounts of isolation pods. Did you know that there are Chinese that have reported that they have missing relatives? They have no idea where they've been taken to, and they haven't heard anything from them. Makes you wonder what's really going on. Keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention, guys.
So the claim is that the Chinese government is kidnapping their people and putting them in isolation pods?
Mark Reed says they're making Szechuan sauce. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is where McDonald's gets its Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, you got to keep up. You got to keep.
Even would be an isolation pod. You know, that's the thing is if you are doing something against the Chinese government, you go to prison. And this is not like a secret either. That's the thing. Every person in China understands this. This is not like, oh, it's a secret thing. They're just disappearing. When a person does disappear, quote unquote, they know why. But I mean, let's look at this. Let's assume that he's right. It's an isolation pod. First of all, again, we're not seeing 30,000. We're not seeing it in many places. We're literally watching the same two flyovers repeatedly. right?
And there's no, I mean, this
What
could
would
be, it kind of reminds me of like an airplane hangar too, like airplane hangars too.
It
I
could
don't know
be.
if it would
It
be.
could be, but I think the runway area would be, I think, too narrow for that.
Yeah.
But it could be some other vehicle. I still think it's probably some kind of
Could these be bunkers?
no, I think it's farming. And the reason for that, if we can go back to like the first part, so we just let it loop because it's going to show us again. And so once he shows us this, like there,
Right there.
Spirit.
Okay.
Is that really the amount of what am I thinking? Guarding and blockading that you would expect from these top secret isolation pods? Is like a blue tarp. Our
White
military
fencing.
base had way more of protection, and we were just a regular base, right? Look at this. This is like there. It looks like what? There's houses across the streets.
Yeah.
There's another blue tarp. It's just blue tarps. This is not some hidden secret whatever.
But there,
if it was, it would be as a bunker. It would be underground. It would be one large facility where it's got like a huge roof, like it's a huge facility kind of thing.
And I don't think isolation pod. When I think isolation pod, I don't think like 60 by 25 foot buildings either. Isolation pods are going to be pods.
I guess the pod would be inside. I don't know. But again, why are we building so many different buildings?
Independent buildings, right?
Yeah, I mean, a prison could be isolation pods too, and that's one big building. I don't understand why we would take the time to set all these up. And then Maya Adkison says, Americans are lucky or stupid enough to have no concept of secret police. Oh, absolutely. Do you think a secret police would allow a drone fly over?
Right. Nobody's even shooting at the drone. What are they talking about?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, look, because the guy's head's in the way, but I mean, there's I don't see any guard. There's no guard at the entrance, and you're telling me this is like, oh yeah, high tech. You know, if it's so secret, like let me tell you, some of the stuff that I found out when I worked in intelligence, this is nothing I can say, but it's also nothing that's so shocking. You know, when I found it out, that was one of my questions to my sergeant was, how come we don't tell the public about this? Because it just didn't seem all that shocking or surprising. Even that stuff doesn't get out. So you're trying to tell me that this like super secret isolation pods in a country that can totally control what goes in and out of it way better than other countries can, just because of how much control they have over the internet and other types of broadcasting. You're telling me that this got out?
This almost looks like a hydroponic farm the more I think of it.
Right. That's what I was thinking with that, like a greenhouse, but not a greenhouse. That's what it is, a hydroponic farm. That's what
yeah. And it was, thank you, DP was the one who got me thinking about that again. Because I was like, where have I seen buildings like this before? Hydroponic farms like they used to have all up by Portland.
Yeah, and then an entropy fan says, and it's next to a river. Again, obviously a farm. Right. We want irrigation here. I mean, if I was putting up a prison, I would not want it next to a farm because a river, because what an easy way for people to escape and then follow the river out, right? What an easy way to do that.
Have the current carry them away.
That's the thing I don't appreciate. Like there are some times when conspiracies happen. You know, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, the CIA cocaine Contra scandal. These are things that have happened. But when it's a person who doesn't even know the difference between the words province and providence, right? Trying to educate us because he managed to get a hold of a TikTok, which is run by China. And that TikTok happens to show a bunch of buildings. And he thinks, yeah, this is it, man. This is like top secret, you know, ultra communist secret police stuff. I mean, did you really? You really broke the code, right? It was you. Oh, congratulations. Where do you think that they were so, that they tried so hard, but at the same time they sucked so bad that you, regular dude, can just, oh yeah, from this other country, I totally know what's going on. You know, I mean, really.
Well, he has freedoms though, because he's an American. So with his freedoms, he can anybody in
His
China.
freedom talk. Okay.
Yeah, he uses his freedom power to fly his drone over. They can't stop him because his freedoms.
Right, and Mark Reed is saying, well, China's doing enough horrible stuff that you don't have to make crap up.
For real.
I absolutely agree.
Especially right now, especially to Christians. I'm gonna say that too. They're persecuting Christians and Muslims like at an unprecedented, disgusting rate. We need
journalists and everything. You know, the Uyghur people as well. I mean, this is stuff that's really happening. But this guy is like, oh yeah, let's. Why make it up? Because if you're going to make it up, it makes all the other claims about what's actually going on in China, people start to wonder about that too. Well, is that also
doubt it? Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what's next. Oh, this is based. Okay. I'm not gonna say anything about the king there. Okay.
Should listen to it. Emma was about to fall asleep when her dog began to bark at something outside her window. She was tired and lived in a safe neighborhood, so she didn't pay attention and told the dog to be quiet. Minutes later, there was the sound of glass breaking and loud.
And I want to make sure that you note that they're priming us. With this image of this white Wendigo looking creature before they even show us what's going to be in this red circle. So
I really don't like this style of video. You know, and other people do. It's just a personal preference where they're talking, but they're showing you so many like generic clips. Like we're not looking at the actual. Because when you see this, you don't think, oh, it's stock footage. You think, is this the window that was broken? You know, and they're trying to almost present it like a true crime documentary, but it's not. And none of this stuff is like the actual on-site stuff. That would be really cool if you could find the person who owned the house, get a picture of the broken window. That would be really cool.
Right. And if they show us, I mean, we will see if they're going to show it to us or not. Let's
screams. Emma made it to the window just in time to see a tall humanoid creature without a face dragging the entire family next door into the woods behind the neighborhood. She later told police that the creature looked directly at her, and even though it didn't have a face, she swore that it somehow grinned at her.
Oh, there's not even a picture. I thought it was going to show us what was in that picture.
This is why if your dog ever barks...
Yeah, I mean, what's the point if you don't have a picture? It's like a 30-second story or whatever where you can say, oh yeah, someone saw a creepy thing drag kids into the woods. It's...
Do we have that would be cool if they had a police report to add to it. That's something to show, not just like, oh, here's some CG image that somebody made that's kind of creepy looking.
Yeah, this is for like a video game or something, right?
Yeah. Also, it didn't have a face, but she swore it smiled at her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. She was woken up from a dream. Sometimes you know.
Maybe like a hypnopompic state where her mind is filling in blanks.
Somebody says the woodland gimp.
What's that?
Somebody said, an entropy fan said the woodland gimp got him.
The woodland gimp. Sasquatch?
Wait, why was it so fast?
What's the arrow there?
Can we try to pause it when the arrow comes up? Oh, come on. I think they do this on purpose. And I've seen stuff like this where...
This is why if you...
I mean, not bringing up makeup, but I see stuff, like these shorts on Instagram, for example, where it's showing a person like before and after with weight loss or with makeup or something, and the after picture flashes for half a second. And so I think the idea is to encourage you to keep rewatching the video. I think it's sort of an algorithm thing. But in this case, here we're supposed to see basically a encrypted money shot, right? And it's just like an arrow, and before you even realize where the arrow is pointing, the video starts over. When we pause it, we don't see anything. Yeah, there's nothing here. it almost sounds like one of those the tornado sirens. That was the first thing I thought of, like a tornado siren.
Yeah, I mean, the sound, it is a bizarre sound, right? But I don't see anything at all. I don't know what they're pointing to. I don't see it. Watching this dark area right here in front of this tree.
There's nothing here.
And
it's so easy to fake.
They're just getting us to rewatch it over and over again.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just, give it a dislike. No, give it a like for Denis Hovind.
Yeah, he's got to like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I haven't been liking any of these. Dang it. I got to keep his algorithm going.
I should have reminded you. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Why is the arrow so
People
terrible?
don't know how to raise children. People don't know how to raise children. When my kid came to me and he said, Daddy, the wheel came off my toy car, and he gave it to me. And I said, so it did. I threw it in the garbage. And I went back to my magazine. And then I washed that lower lip part off. Then he started crying. I said, what's the matter? He said, you throw it away. I said, I'll get you baby toys where the wheels don't come off. He said, well, maybe I can fix it. So I gave it to him again. And he's sitting on the couch, and he gets it together. In just a minute or two, gets it together. Then you pick up. How did you do that? It's wonderful. He says, I'm not that little. Mm-hmm. But how did you do it? See the hole in the wheel, yes. See the piece of iron sticking up? I put the hole in and pushed it. I said, that's wonderful. But you say, here, let Daddy do it, let Mommy do it. You produce a blob. You know what that means? You solve all your kids' problems. People don't.
So, I mean, that's not bad advice.
It's not, but I don't like how he started it. Well, I'll just get you a bunch of baby toys and whatever, you know. We had a locker come off, and one of the teachers handed it to me, like a door, and they said, hey, you know, what do I do with this? I said, I'll take care of it. So I looked at it, and the pins were still fine. It didn't break off, so I just kind of slid it in there. Okay, cool. Took it out and just took it to the classroom. I said, hey, guys, just real quick, because sometimes we do different stuff just to warm up the class. I said, hey, everybody outside. So I said, look at this. This came off. Fix it. And I just held out the door. The students weren't really 100% sure of what was going on. I said, no, you know, fix it. We're not done here until somebody fixes it. You guys can work together. There's no problem. And they were able to fix it, of course. You know, I told them, I'm not going to do this to you to trick you. I believe that you can fix it. Whereas a child, you don't know how this child is going to necessarily respond to being told, oh, I'll just get you big baby toys. So that way you stupid little thing, you're going to cry about everything. I mean, how insulting.
It's a little toxic, right?
You know what I mean? It's very condescending. You could have that lesson without that, such as, well, you know, why don't you fix it? I think you can fix it. You know, I believe that you can fix it. Why not just say that? Why, you know, what if the kid was like, okay, I'm a loser, and just pouted and walked off, you know? What if they got really upset and they picked up the toy and broke the toy further? You know, why?
I mean, you get a choice when you're a parent, right? To be a positive influence and say, you can do this, or to be a negative influence and you can get them to take care of themselves doing both methods, but you don't have to be there's a non-toxic one too.
Yeah, that's the thing is sometimes, sure, you know, we all like a shady zinger, you know what I mean? We like the snarky comments and stuff, but when you
gotta raise your kid with some sass.
You know, you do something else. Like when you tell your friends about the story, fine. Then you can be as shady as you like. But when you're talking to them, you got to be like your best version of yourself. You got to be the adult that you wish guided you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? You didn't have to ridicule the children for them to grow character, says Maya Ekason. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I do sass my kids quite a bit, but it's reciprocated. And when
there's a difference, sure.
And when there's a situation like this, where they need support, then I try to be there for them. Yeah. Let's see what Denis has next for us.
Was Mr. Rogers trying to warn us? Listen.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country.
Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine, your body's fancy, and so is mine. Because sometimes children think that they might change. They might have to change after a while. And, you know, we laugh about that now, but it's because we had that concern when we were little.
Yeah, because you're really not sure. You thought maybe you'd become a girl, or a girl would become a boy, right?
Exactly.
And you got to remember the social standards that Mr. Rogers was living in at that time. Yeah, this was not something that people knew, and Mr. Rogers was all about being your best self. I don't think that Mr. Rogers, if Steve Rogers is today, not Steve Rogers, Steve Rogers, Captain America, but yeah, if he was alive today, I don't think that he would be a TERF. Like they're.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he just wants the kids to be happy.
Everybody to be their best self.
Right, and he may have really misunderstood the idea of being transgender as wanting to be something you're not, or not feeling comfortable in your own skin, so you feel like you have to change who you are. And that's not what it is, you know, to be transgender. It's this idea that you're becoming the self that you truly feel that you should be. It's like having a child who's told you have to become an engineer, but that kid really, really wants to be an artist or really wants to be a doctor. That child pursuing what they really want to be, this is not something wrong. You know what I mean? It's that we're making sure that we go towards like how we feel we will be best suited in our society. So he may not have understood that. You know, I've read some of the earlier research, psychology research on some people that were transgender, especially with Klinefelter syndrome. And it's interesting stuff, but it does come across as the person was almost bullied into being transgender in a way, because they were so insulted for looking not very masculine and acting so soft, quote unquote, that when they started presenting as a woman, all of that went away. And so they thought, this is how I feel the most comfortable because I get to be myself and people don't treat me like crap. So maybe that's kind of where Fred Rogers was coming from, that idea, that misunderstanding.
Yeah. It just, and I mean, this is clipped and snipped all together. You can clearly see, because this is from a live broadcast. All these jump cuts aren't really in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a reason why they're here. To sculpt his message, they're basically pruning out the parts where he says stuff that doesn't match what they want him to be saying.
Happens frequently out here.
Only girls can be the mummies. Only boys can grow up and be the daddies. Yes, sir. Or a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
Was Mr. Rogers trying to warn us?
I don't know. I mean, for me, if I just heard that and I knew it was Mr. Rogers, I would think, like, my instinct here is that he's probably trying to say we have to raise the children correctly because they're going to be the next generation of adults, right? That we can't just, beat the kids and not educate them and, treat them like crap, like they're our property, because we have to treat them well. This is going to be the next generation. These are going to be the people that are voting, that are taking jobs, that are going to continue society running. That's my guess as to what he.
Yeah, I don't think that
make that assumption. I would just watch the actual clip.
I don't think that he was speaking about gender at all when he made that when he was talking. This is from the Supreme Court, right? This is from when PBS was trying to get when they were trying to put some regulation or something in place, and he went before the Supreme Court and spoke on behalf of PBS about making sure that we have an educated society moving forward. I don't actually listening back through this, I don't know where he used this language that he was where he was saying that when he says girls, he's talking about assigned female at birth either. He's not, Mr. Rogers does not say that in this clip. Let's watch this through one more time just to make sure. I want to see what the language he uses here.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country.
Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start.
Okay, so that includes trans boys and trans girls being boys from the trans boys are boys from the beginning, and the trans girls are girls from the start. So nothing he said there.
Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine, your body's fancy, and so is mine. Because sometimes children think that they might change. They might have to change after a while.
Right, and sometimes they're forced to conform to a gender identity that doesn't match with them. So yeah, he's right here too. I just re-evaluate what he's saying here, because I jumped off on the foot that he was actually saying these things, and now I want to listen back through it and try to hear what he's actually saying. I think he was securing funding. Yes, that's what it was.
I sent you a link in the StreamYard's chat.
Okay.
And it looks like it starts at 6:28. The whole thing is only 6 minutes and 50 seconds long. So it's I would go maybe back to 6:20.
Is this the from the TV interview or from the
Senate interview or the Senate speech?
Oh, the Supreme Court thing, or that?
Yeah, the Supreme Court one.
Yeah.
It says Senate Subcommittee on Communication.
Okay, Senate Subcommittee. I was wrong. It was yeah.
Now, Mr. Rogers is certainly one of the best things that's ever happened to public
So it looks like the whole thing he's talking about is trying to make a case for public television and good programming for kids, and why we should still fund it.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, there it is there. The support, the growth of a new concept, national public television. So if you go up to 6:20, I think that would be a good place to start. Yeah, it's towards the end.
All right, Rogers, you got the...
And know that the feeling is really mine.
Is that loud enough?
Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful.
So it looks like that was at the end of a phrase.
Let's roll it back just a little bit further.
Yeah.
Let us become what we can, and think ag or see how fast you go. The wide world seems oh so wrong.
There. I would
and
start
nothing
there.
you do seems very right. What do? Do you punch a bag? Do you pound some clay or some dough? Do you round up friends for a game of tag or see how fast you go? It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong and be able to do something else instead and think this song. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish, can stop, stop, stop anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
He was reading a poem.
Yeah, it seemed like he was talking about how to deal with anger, and just that, again, you can grow into that part of society. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like he's talking anything about gender issues.
Yeah, I mean,
did anybody in the chat hear it differently?
And the terms that he used there are just fine. A girl can become a lady, whether they're a trans lady or a cis lady, sure. And whether they're a trans girl or a cis girl, they can become a trans lady or cis lady. And a boy, whether
weird to use something like somebody, Mark Reed said, you got to be some kind of POS to cherry pick Mr. Rogers.
right, and it was clipping a poem that he was reading. That wasn't even his own words. Well, I don't think it was his own words. It didn't sound like his own words. It sounded like he was reciting some verses. Was I wrong?
I don't know if it was his own poem, but it definitely was a poem.
It rhymed.
It was part of a song to have kids to remind themselves anytime that I'm angry, I can stop what I'm doing. If I'm doing something that doesn't make me happy, I can stop doing that. And I don't have to feel totally controlled by my anger. When I was trying to scroll through here, there's some different
Rogers trying
of
to...
it, and it talks about like how to deal with anger. So he was trying to give maybe some of that advice for children who feel upset. You know, Mr. Rogers, is, I think any of us that watched him, you know, we know he talked to a lot of different types of people who their parents have died or that they were bullied at school. They had some kind of physiological difference, like they were in a wheelchair or something and they got really frustrated with life. And he talked about that. He talked about sadness. He talked about death in a
Grief,
way. He talked about, he talked about all these things, about when your friend moves away, when your pets die, if you have a friend that's blind, things like that. He talked about a lot of different stuff to help kids.
He did talk about some racial stuff too.
You can be the person that is like a good, productive member of society, as opposed to just this thing that's like a product of your environment. That's kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers, I think for the most part was, I don't know all the details. I know that there was definitely mistakes made in the movie, and I've learned enough about Bob Ross, for instance, personal life, to realize that maybe I don't want to know about Mr. Rogers' personal life, to preserve the sanctity of that character from my childhood, right? Because I remember both Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers being on the TV all the time when I was a kid, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you've looked into any Bob Ross's shenanigans, but he was.
He was a funny guy.
Yeah.
I was also in the military, so.
Yeah.
Maybe to me it's funny, but maybe to somebody else it's like shattering.
Yeah.
I do think about that sometimes. Like, here I am, as a teacher, trying to be very, respectful and kind, and make sure everyone feels comfortable and patient. Where when I was in the Marines, I just yelled at everybody all the time. Came up with all kinds of creative insults, and just I told somebody that I would eat their skin, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So to say like, oh wow, yeah, that's not exactly what I was looking for, but I can see what you're going for here. I can see that there's some thought, what the idea was, as opposed to, yelling at somebody like, you did it wrong, you absolute idiot. You weren't listening to a damn thing that anybody said. What's inside that brain? Is there a brain there at all? No, you can't say that to kids.
You can say that to John Clash here, though. That's this guy.
I'll say it to him. That's good.
Yeah, because he thinks Mr. Rogers is a bigot, and I disagree.
Fun fact, each Bob Ross painting is the scene of where he hid one of the bodies. That's why he never wanted you to tell anyone about that one little bush. Thank you, Purple Rhymes with the Word.
Yeah, the happy little bush.
That's it.
Robert suddenly felt motivated to go out
watching Mr. Ballin.
Listen to this. This is the truth about what's going on. Check it out.
The fact is, they're not showing back up to ICE. Your own letter to Senator Johnson, to this committee, have acknowledged they're not showing back up to ICE. I mean, how can you be saying that you have operational control or that we're securing the United States when they're not showing back up?
Congressman, are you actually interested in the facts and the law?
Yeah, I'm reading you the law, and I'm actually talking to you about the facts about who's in this country.
Actually, you're
now let's actually go to something that's
Chairman, can the witness be allowed to answer the question?
Well, there wasn't a question there to be.
Gentleman's time.
Point. Now let's talk about the damage being done to the United States of America. Mr. Secretary, do you know what this is? This is a mobile morgue, a body trailer, needed by counties in South Texas overwhelmed by dead migrants.
There's bodies in there. Trailer. Listen to this. This is the truth.
This is the kind of weird conspiracy stuff that Denis didn't even seek out. This found Denis.
Yeah.
Once you start leaning in, this is the kind of content that you will get once you start.
So what is this?
This channel is.
What's the argument here? That we should totally close down the borders to prevent deaths of migrants. Is that the argument?
Yeah, it's like an isolationist argument.
Yeah,
but just the southern border, right?
Huh?
But just the southern border.
Just the southern border, yeah.
Yeah, where the brown people.
We don't care about all the immigrants being forced to march in the freezing cold and dying in Canada, like just happened last week. Yeah, we don't care about that.
Yep, it's just the border where the brown people come in, and all the other borders are fine. Oh, what we missed.
You are not going to believe me when I tell you this, but I swear it's true. And good thing I got it on camera to prove it. I was exploring a volcanic ravine near the ocean with my best good friend Alex when all of a sudden things began to
I think this is
get
just
really
wholesome
weird.
content,
We
but
started
we'll
seeing
see.
this strange red stuff all over the walls of the canyon. It literally looked like the walls were bleeding. I pushed through the cave to see if I could find out what was causing it. I ran under a boulder that reminded me of 127 hours and narrowly escaped death. But it was just a dead end, and there were no signs of what was causing this blood-like material. But there were some crabs deep inside the cracks of the walls who seemed to love it. Now for the crazy part. The waves began to become violent and spill over the walls into the ravine, so we climbed out of the canyon before it was too late. Once I got to the top, I stumbled upon a deep, mysterious hole that seemed to be endless, and probably home to a ravenous sea monster. Alex dropped the rock down there to see how deep it was, but we still couldn't see the bottom. I'm heading home to get my waterproof case to see what's below, so like and follow.
Oh, it's another one of these ones that say, hey, stay tuned for part 2.
And what does it mean, blood-like? When I think blood-like, I'm thinking consistency in addition to color, not just, oh, there's this stuff that's kind of reddish.
Yeah, red substance is not blood-like, right? It looked like algae to me. Like,
yeah, it could be algae. It could be that there was some kind of, I don't know, iron here and it rusted a bit. Could be cinnabar somehow. Like does he understand that like there's layers of stuff and sometimes like geology is red?
Yeah. Who knows? He thinks there's a sea monster in this hole, though, so I'm not going to put too much stock into anything.
The endless hole, whatever. If any of my students try to turn this in for like geography class, I would just there would be a lot of marks on there. You know, as far as citation needed, what are you talking about? How do you know it's endless? How do you know this? It wasn't even what I would call blood red. I agree. I think my lipstick looks more blood red than this.
Yeah, it had kind of a pink color to it, like a pinkish red.
Yeah, that's what I say. I think it looked rust red. Mark did the same thing. Maybe this is where Bob Ross hit a body.
In that hole right there. Freeze frame.
Come full circle. We're through the looking glass, people. Blood-like is red because nothing in nature is red. Agreed. Those black cherries. Could be copper-based.
This is a
blood.
creepy one, and that's recently gone viral.
Oh, you ready for?
That would be green. That's why Vulcans bleed green and.
Yeah, with copper blood. You know that copper, that mollusk won't touch copper, like snails and slugs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have a bad reaction to it. Something to do with their blood. Yes.
Interesting.
And them not having, or their blood being using copper instead of iron or something along those lines. Yeah, interesting. Let's see what this creature creeping back in the woods is.
Okay.
This is a creepy one, and it's recently gone viral. Okay.
The video depicts a man singing in the woods as he films some deer who come by to check out the sound. The deer seem pretty unfazed by the man's voice, and uncharacteristically haven't run off at the sight of any potential danger. They just stand there watching.
Danger. What are you talking
What the man hasn't noticed, and what people have pointed out after the video is uploaded, however, is the fact that there are several other figures watching him from behind the trees, alarmingly close to the deer.
Oh, that looks
Typically,
fake. I'm
it
sorry.
would be simple
That's
to pass this off
CGI.
as other people
That's very
out for a
fake,
walk in the woods on the same day. But the fact that they are standing so close to the deer has made many people skeptical about just what these figures could be.
They're not that close to the deer.
It comes.
Obviously, look at how clear it is compared to the tree.
That's what I was gonna say. Look at it emerging from the pixelation like that. It was hidden behind those pixels.
It's even got like the what's it called, the artifacts and stuff around it.
One
thing I try to show my students, because sometimes, especially around Halloween, we just kind of get a little fun and we show these videos of like top 10 ghosts caught on camera or something. So we watch the thing. We'll watch one of the clips. It's scary, whatever, and then we'll go back because some of the students do legitimately get scared. And I say, all right, so let's think about it. Like, how do we analyze this? So we'll talk about what it could have been, whatever. But one of the things I always ask them is, why did they have their camera out? What is this guy filming? Oh, I'm in the woods. And it didn't even look like he was singing very much. It almost looked like he was like making a noise. Why would I film myself making a noise?
Was he doing throat singing maybe?
That's the impression that I got. But why? If I'm interested in like showing the deer, then I'm going to show the deer. I'm not going to have this, selfie cam. I'm going to sing while I have the regular camera on, and I'm going to show the deer and stuff because it'll be nice to see. I don't understand this idea of uncharacteristically standing around. Deer do that sometimes, especially if they're very close to to a people. My brother, he lives right near a tree line, and him and his son, they go outside and the deer show up. They throw out food for the deer. They know it's a very safe place. Hunting is not allowed. Obviously, it's just his backyard. So it's not like deer are always skittish. So all of that was really bad. But then this like terrible. What is it supposed? Then what is it supposed to be?
I'm assuming it's obviously a Wendigo or a rake or something.
A gray alien.
Gray alien. I could see that because I can kind of see some where it could be eyes, maybe.
Go full screen. It seems to have boobs. Sandy.
This is since it's vertical like this. This is as big as it gets.
Plot twist: the mysterious figures are trying to warn the person about the deer. That reminds me of that Paradise PD episode in this 4th season where like the deer are killing people. Titan Uranus says the slug's slime reacts with the copper to produce a harmless electric shock that freaks him out. Oh, cool. Yeah, enhance. Double click enhance.
Yeah. Well, every time I hit the scroll button,
click like. And like the other one too.
Oh yeah, gotta like these things.
There we go. That one I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah. Let's see what's next.
I did it on my screen. Oh, interesting.
Ooh,
this is a Damascus.
Damascus goat. Oh yeah.
Damascus goat. It looks like one of my cousins.
They're so bizarre looking. Can we hear it?
I love it. What's this about? Are we just looking at
It's just the goat, yeah. I think so.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, it is a cool looking creature. This is a weird looking goat.
Yeah. It looks
Why did
lovely.
Jesus write with his finger in the sand?
What was that?
Oh, it looks really pretty as a baby. They've got like these like lovely ears and stuff. And then it just goes through like the worst growth spurt.
Poor guy.
And I had never heard this before. Watch this. The Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They said, in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such a woman. What do you say? But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. Paul in 1 Corinthians 10 tells us that Jesus was with these same Israelites that Moses was with. Jesus was the water coming out of the rock. Jesus was the manna, the bread of heaven. So with these same Israelites at that time, could it be that it was Jesus himself who gave Moses the law? Exodus 31:18, when the Lord finished speaking with Moses on Mount Sinai.
Well, can you explain it to me then? It went over my head.
Yeah. Sorry, my Christian thinking cap. My non-thinking cap. So what he's saying is that because Jesus is talked about as if he was alive and interacting in the Old Testament, such as he was the manna from heaven. There's some people that say he was the word that Yahweh spoke to cause life, things like that. So he's saying that when the Pharisees were talking about the law, that Jesus wrote it down in the sand to imply he's the one that wrote the law. Where this guy gets it wrong is that it doesn't say stone people for adultery. There's a lot of laws too.
That's in Leviticus or is that Deuteronomy?
Where was it?
It might be in Numbers too.
Exodus.
It's in Exodus? Okay.
It's the 10 Commandments. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. Yeah,
So
10
he's
Commandments,
saying
duh.
that This is what Jesus is implying. I don't know. What if he was just doodling? What if he had like ADHD or something?
When the Lord is finished speaking to Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave him 2 tablets of the covenant law, the tablet of stone inscribed by the finger of God.
Yeah.
So he's saying, I'm God. Okay.
So they're like, we're gonna kill her. We're gonna stone her to death because she committed adultery, which is against the law. And Jesus is like, oh, girl, I know that law. I was the one that wrote it.
Yeah.
You mean this law here, penned by the finger of God? You mean me? Okay. And that's what he's saying. I do want to read the Bible, but make Jesus very sassy.
Yeah. Give him a little twerk to it.
I think Jesus was kind of a jerk. I even thought so as a Christian. I thought he was really condescending. And so I just kind of wanted to try that. Like, oh, excuse me? You think that you can come to me and okay, well, my mothers and brothers, these are my mothers and brothers. Tell those people to just move on. That's just kind of how he was.
He was a little snarky too, like when the guy asked him about how to get into heaven. He's like, "Were you asking me about how to get in heaven? Why are you asking me this?" It's like,
believe in me. I'm the way, the truth, and the life.
Yeah.
I know, you're so oppressed, my dears. I know, life is so hard for you. You have to live in the richest, most equitable, most just country in the history of the world. You have to get a college education. You have to voluntarily go to lectures. It's so awful. I can't imagine. The people who are in war.
Michael Knowles screaming into the void for people who hate him.
Wow. I think that whenever people talk about this, I tell them I'm really glad that you do not work for emergency services. Can you imagine calling up the fire department because your house is on fire and somebody saying, well, at least you're alive and if you have a house to even burn down. Did you know there's people in war-torn countries that don't even have a house? Like they have this very...
Right.
Just because somebody is not homeless and suffering with PTSD from constant bombing raids every night, that doesn't mean that like if they get cancer they can't be upset about that.
Right.
It's relative. It's not this like objective measure of human upset. And plus I don't know, isn't Sweden more equitable?
I mean, it depends on the country, right? But regardless, if you live in the West, right, you do have privileges, but it's not it's this comic strip right here. This is what it is. Let me share this. This is what we're looking at. This guy. We should improve society somewhat, yet you participate in society. Curious.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
It's like, sir.
Yeah, and again, it kind of reminds me of the climate change argument where people don't want to make all these changes because what if humans don't affect climate change as much as people say that we do, whatever. And I say, okay, so all we'd be left with is like clean
I know, you're so...
okay. Oh, we don't have pollution in the water.
We made the world more habitable for no reason.
Yeah, like some of this, the weather will set off my migraines. I can have fewer of those. That's not a terrible. Little kids don't have to have pollution-induced asthma. How is this bad?
I don't know. It's Michael Knowles, so I mean he's literally paid to make these bad arguments. I don't think anybody makes these arguments in good faith.
Yeah.
I think that they have to be on the payroll.
They're not arguments. They're insults. He's just being sarcastic. And again, this is one of those things where it's it's fun to be getting in a couple zingers there, but does this actually allow you to have a discussion? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he really wants to have this discussion of, okay, so if from my perspective, you are living very well compared to many other people in the world, why do you feel like this is an issue that we still have to fight? That would be totally opening the floor for discussion, right? But in this case, it's just, what's he talking about?
He's just throwing insults at him, telling him about all the things that we have in our society that they don't have in the rest of the world, as if because other people have it worse than us that we shouldn't try to do better. that we can't have better or strive for better.
It reminds me of a coworker who came to me complaining that he had a really bad headache. And then he said, oh, look who I'm talking to though. You get chronic migraines. Like you probably just think like, who cares about, my stupid headache? And I said, no, of course I care. For me, my migraines are the worst I've experienced, but for you, this is the worst headache you've experienced. So if on some objective measure, maybe I'm closer to a 10 than you are, but for our subjective measure, this is still your 10. Like, of course you can talk to me about this and complain about it and ask if I have any medicine and whatever. Why, like, we're not in competition, like if I have the worst pain, I don't get paid more or anything. You know what I mean? Why not just be like, oh man, that really sucks. Like I know what it's like to have this kind of distracting pain. That's so terrible. I'm sorry. You know, why be this way?
And you're mentioning of emergency services earlier, maybe got me thinking. And there is, at some point where you do have to grade out priorities of who you help. And that's unfortunate, but this is not one of those situations. This is not where we have to figure out who to help. We just help us all. We can all work towards like things like climate change, like you were talking about. We can all work together towards that. It's not somewhere you have to pick and choose. Oh, this group of people and that group of people. There's things that we can all get behind.
I agree, and I also have to unfortunately remind you to give a thumbs up.
Oh, give a thumbs up to Michael Knowles. Oh, it feels dirty. All right, we got a UFO.
Okay. What do we got? Alien? UFO.
Yeah. Christmas tree.
Yeah. Okay, that looks pretty cool.
Enters through a portal in Germany. Oh, do we have sound on this? It's like out of a plane window, I suppose. I think it's CGI, but...
I mean, it looks really well done.
Yeah, it's
in terms of like how
it almost looks like it's
into the background.
Professionally done.
Yeah, maybe from a movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're filming a movie. I don't know. Interesting.
It's from UFO Mania. If anybody else wants to go out there, I believe that Germania is actually this is his second channel.
Ooh.
Not really, but.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's like the alter ego. Hey, we've got the Hovinds. I'm gonna mute myself for a second and stop my cam. I just my medicine that I was swallowing, one got stuck. So.
Okay, go for it. All right. Let's see. Whoa.
Okay, what's this? Why is it on our feed here?
I don't know why this is on the feed, but it's an eagle attacking someone's dogs in Alaska. I guess that's a real problem in Alaska that you might have to deal with because the eagles up there are huge.
Yeah, I heard the same about South America. There's some claims of very large birds that can snatch up to like a very skinny 8-year-old child.
Yeah, the harpy eagles. You ever see like their claws that compared to like a grown adult human's hands? It's amazing how massive these birds' talons
dinosaurs.
Kitty.
Look at this. There he is.
Oh my gosh, your kitty's so huge.
And this is the smaller of the family.
Yeah.
The son is very large. Oh, there's the son.
Are they got Maine Coon in them or something?
They are Maine Coon, yeah.
They are Maine Coons. Okay, yeah.
That's all right. We can go to the next video. And then
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you distract me with kitties, though.
Sorry.
Caught on trail cam. Lightning bugs?
Right. What are we looking at?
I don't know, but Denis likes it.
I mean, it looks like a lightning bug.
Yeah, there's one right there.
Yeah,
right
and then
there,
it shows up again.
Right there.
Okay. I mean, I guess the weird thing is they're not moving.
Yeah.
So maybe some kind of reflection off of a spider web?
It could be also hunting spiders on the trees with their eyes reflected as you shine a flashlight through the woods.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Some kind, because the way they're kind of floating, right? It looks like some kind of spider on a web.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah. All right, what's next?
2 places where Jesus said you can go to hell.
You go to hell.
Only 2 sins. There are many other sins listed in Sermon on the Mount: telling lies, divorcing, hating your neighbor. That's.
I don't know. Does Jesus mention divorce in the Sermon on the Mount?
I don't. That one doesn't stick out to me.
I think I remember lying, but I don't.
Sin. Giving money to let other people see it, praying in public to impress others, that's a sin. Or fasting and letting everybody know about it, loving money, being anxious, judging others, so many things. Matthew 5, 6.
Being anxious is a sin. I'll be damned.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I have a clinical sin. Hey, Stephanie
I
Helm.
suffer from clinical sin.
Yeah.
And 7. But out of all these sins, he picks out 2. And so they will send you to hell. If you pray and let other people know about it, you won't go to hell. It's a sin. If you fast and advertise your fasting, it's a sin, but you won't go to hell. If you don't love your enemy, it's a sin, but you won't go to hell. When it came to anger and dirty thoughts and lusting with your eyes and sinning with your hand, he said that'll take you to hell. You read Matthew 5 and 6, 2 places where Jesus said you.
The devil's doorbell.
That's it. Don't ring the devil's doorbell, guys.
Yeah.
Sinning with your hand. I like how, just say it. Just say touching
Sitting with your hand.
But that's it. Now, for me, I remember going to church and being told
It's
that
funny, I got him
frozen
like this. He's like sitting with your hand.
That's it. I mean, they are obsessed. They are so obsessed with it. They think we're obsessed with it because they're obsessed with it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's just so. If God considers it a sin, why doesn't it send me to hell? Like, why is it bad but heaven worthy? You know, that's just such a like I'm just trying to think of a car. Is that like a little ding, but then anger just totals the vehicle? And then what if you're angry once, or if you have a lustful thought once, that's it? Or are you talking that if you do it and then you don't repent, then you die, then you'll go to hell?
What if you learn a lesson from something that's a sin and are a better person afterwards?
What if you become a stronger Christian as a result?
It brings you closer to Jesus because you committed this sin and felt the yeah. I think that's
Stephanie says that guy's hairstyle will send him to hell. Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. Look at this. You're done. You're done. Just
I love
shave
this.
it. It's over. You know what I mean? It's over.
This should be the
Why are you
thumbnail
holding
for.
on to this?
This should be the
It's
thumbnail
over.
for sitting with your hand, though.
That's it. That's what he wants to do.
Did this man get stuck in the past? In 1995, Mike Markham set out to create a time machine. His idea was to use compact lasers to reduce the air pressure going in either pole direction. Mike was a recluse and worked tirelessly on his invention. On one occasion, he even caused a citywide blackout. However, it might have benefited.
I believe this is the guy that they based that Safety Not Guaranteed movie on.
Him as he garnered some attention and received anonymous donations to help fund his invention. When asked about what he would bring if he could time travel, he simply replied, "My cell phone." However, in 1997, Mike and his work mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Soon afterwards, a news story was uncovered from the 1930s, claiming that an unrecognizable man was found crushed in a metal tube on a California beach, and the only thing found with the body was a cell phone from the 1990s. So,
Wait. Okay.
He had a Nokia with him, and he went
So
back in
first of all,
time.
he disappeared without a trace. Well, so did Ted Kaczynski until he started making himself known. So a guy that's reclusive and he's doing all this weird stuff, for him to not contact people, that doesn't seem out of character. Do you know what I mean? How do they know he disappeared without a trace? What his Twitter went? Oh wait, we don't have the social media stuff. And then what, his live journal didn't get updated. But then what are they saying? That he was found in the 1930s, crushed, and that the journalist in the 1930s said, we don't identify this man, but the only thing that we can identify is this cell phone from the 1990s. Is that what they're saying? That this news article from the 1930s pointed out that the only piece of recognizable wreckage was a 1990s cell phone?
Yeah, because they had predictions, right, back in the 1930s of what our cell
Was
phones
the barrel
were.
the time machine? Apparently hard concrete can go through time. It can just survive the fabric of space-time. Hard concrete. That's it. You know, of course you're unrecognizable. You got crushed by concrete.
That'll do it.
Come on.
I can't believe the cell phone. It had to have been a Nokia if it survived that, though.
What else? Yeah, right. Let me see if I can find. What's this guy's name again? I gotta.
Did this man get stuck in the past? In 1995, Mike Markham said.
Mike Markham.
Markham? Oh, H-A-M. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, we can like the video. We can move on.
Yes. Is he this? And let me know if he's the safety not guaranteed guy, because they made a movie based on this guy who was supposed to be building a time machine in his garage or whatever and disappeared. I think this is the same guy. Ooh, a ghost.
Okay, I mean that's cool.
It's a ghost or a djinn.
Yeah. Oh,
Did this mean?
Ghost or djinn?
Well, it's a djinn because it says djinn here. It's from Pakistan, though, so Islamic country.
It looks like. I'm assuming this is not doctored, but I feel like it is.
To me, it looks like artifacts from somebody.
That's what I was thinking.
Something that was moving in a way that the camera wasn't able to focus on it.
Especially because this part that looks almost like a head, it's got another part on the other side, which it looks like it's a second djinn, but they're moving at the same, like the same movement. So if you watch it again, you'll see what I mean. Do you see how they're kind of like, you know, why would they be so in step?
Yeah, like that. Like it's
these are military djinn.
Yeah, they are very well trained djinn.
That's it. I mean, why do they got such weird legs? I mean, not to body shame the djinn, you know, to be our beauty standards, but.
Yeah, we should not hold djinn to our human beauty standards.
Yeah, exactly. It just looks like it's walking on its fist or something.
Yeah, like there's
I don't know. It almost looks like somebody was doing this just to see if they could make a CGI thing where they might have been walking on their, like on all fours almost with their fists, and then they just tried to edit things out, because that is kind of what it looks like.
It does kind of look like somebody walking on knuckle walking like a monkey.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Or like an ape, and then like maybe holding like a staff or something in the other hand.
Yeah, what if it's just like some old disabled hermit, and then they kind of blurred part of it, and they're like, it's
the djinn.
That's it. That's ableism.
All right, let's see here.
I asked AI what people
Kemper
from
would
Planet
look like. I asked AI what people from planet Kemper would look like.
Wait. Is it got fake underwear on? Because we don't want to see the naked.
It says Monday, yeah. Can we see its dong? Has it got a big floppy alien dong that we got to cover up? Do they have the same type of genitals that we do?
I don't know. The gray salami, I guess.
Gray salami.
Look at this guy talking like it's the most regular thing in the world. What is this, like Agent Mulder from Wish? You know?
Yeah, discount.
Discount Mulder.
Notice how it cut away when he shook hands with it?
Yeah, I mean, what happened here? Laser Bob. What is this?
Is that the spaceship right there?
Yeah, but why isn't he showing the full thing? Right?
Oh, there's the guy moving.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it's so tiny.
Oh, that is... I mean, okay, it's a cool clubhouse, but
it is cool, yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but it looks like it's one of those videos that was made to be viral.
Yeah.
I just like how casual Agent, what should his name be? Agent Smolder.
Agent Smolder.
That's it.
Yeah, he's just having a chat with the alien.
And I like really shaking his hand, like, yeah, thanks. What do you think they're shaking hands for? Did he sell him something?
I don't know. He
sell him a slice of gray salami.
Yeah, maybe it was maybe it was the treehouse, and that's
it. Remember, it's not a sin if you're not touching your own self. See?
Yes.
We figured it out. We figured it out. Space Jesus.
Agent Smolder is also doing a an excellent job not looking down. So good on you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, very respectful guy. That's what sees him all the time.
Eye contact. That's important.
That's good. It's important. I don't know why they cut it though.
It's weird how they jump away when he shakes hands.
Yeah.
That's weird, but I think Denis likes this.
The sound of that one was giving me a headache. Purple, me too. I'm trying to avoid migraine, and that just like that pain was out of this world.
And you'll get that a lot with the cryptid videos and stuff too. They like to put the ambient.
What are you trying to do? You're trying to make my ears bleed? You trying to like reverberate my brain so that way I can see what you're seeing? Yeah, but of course, thumbs up. Yes.
Yes, of course.
Ooh, what do we got here?
We're in space.
They want you to look over towards the dark side of the Earth. Should be cresting the horizon about 15 degrees east of the starboard PV rays. There it is. We're getting your feet, Sat-1. Come in, Houston. Are you getting this?
Copy that, ISS. Video feed from Sat-1 is clear. Sat-1, keep tracking the bogey. We're looking into it. Stand by.
Houston, we're not scheduled for any satellite launches today, are we?
ISS Houston, stand by. We may have a problem here.
I mean, it's fast, but...
Oh, I need to go. Nope.
Requesting a feed from your...
Why cut it out? You know what I think? I think it's because once it got closer, it was pretty obvious that it was, like, assuming it was real. I would be worried if there was like a space rock coming at me. Do you know what I mean? This is something that I would be worried about, or if it was some other launch, if it was some other country, we didn't coordinate with each other, and now we might smack each other. You know, this idea to immediately jump to, oh, it must be, you know, a UFO. Why? And if I was trying to stay hidden from humans, why would I go towards this thing that's emitting communication signals? You know what I mean?
Well, I think what I'm seeing here is that maybe this is
there's humans. I better not accidentally get caught in their video feed. You know, because I'm heading towards them.
I'm thinking
you know that... They said that's from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Okay, good, because that was the other idea, that it just looked really...
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe this part could be real, but once it gets to where it's...
They want you to look over towards the dark side of the Earth.
Right
Should
there.
Be cresting the horizon about 15 degrees
When you
east
see
of
the
starboard
this
PV rays.
stuff come into view, it looks very CG to me.
There it is. We're getting your feet, Sat-1. Come in, Houston. Are you getting this?
Copy that, ISS. Video feed from
Yeah,
Sat-1
if this is a game clip though, I feel like I was duped.
They're showing up to Skeptics and Scoundrels to sell alien quaaludes. Duh.
Alien quaaludes.
That's it. Those actronauts. Good, you made sure to like it.
All right.
Okay.
I think this is just like a Dude Perfect video.
Okay. Okay, Spetsnaz. Okay.
Cool.
That's
the
cool.
English language.
I don't want that on my feed though. I mean.
English language marks the end of days. What? The 26th.
In the end of days, it is said that there will be one.
Let's make prediction on this one. Okay, so why?
No, I think this word unified already tipped me off.
Unified language.
If you don't, yeah. And then let me guess, the UN is going to be the one world order,
yeah.
Even though it's not a government body.
Well, they are the Illuminati, so I mean.
Oh yeah.
Unified language, but we don't know what it is. Now, we all speak the English language. However, not many of us know that.
How many of your students speak English? All of them?
Yeah, to varying degrees.
And I know that is it a common language to be spoken over there?
I mean, let me put it this way. Everybody has to take it in school. That doesn't mean that everybody's good at it.
Okay.
It's sort of like how, think back to the most advanced math you took in high school. Do you still remember all the
no
formulas and stuff? Right. So it's like, yeah, we all learned it, but
gotcha. All right.
that it's actually a Germanically derived occult-influenced language from the Spear Shakers cult, led by Sir Francis Bacon, whose agenda was to normalize witchcraft into our daily lives. This cult was actually behind the writings of the great William Shakespeare.
This is going deep. So English is an occult language. So that means that when we speak, we should just be able to cast spells with just the English
You'd think
language.
so. I guess that's why we're... I don't even have a joke for that. This
Yeah.
is a joke. Like, this is so...
Explaining why
I
the
always tell
writing
my
styles
students,
go.
Oh, what's up?
I'm sorry. I always tell my students, I'm so sorry you have to speak English because it's this mishmash of languages. You know, so just say it's only derived from German deliberately because of Shakespeare and the witches. Like,
Yeah, this is freaking incredible. That we know, because we know. I mean, linguistics of all things. So history is we consider history when we started keeping written records. So written records require a written language. So as of all things to know the origins of and to be able to trace back, language is pretty high up there. It's like,
so what does this mean? The British Empire gained power because it spoke witchcraft into existence? Like, is that...
Ooh. Well, we're only halfway. Let's see what he says.
Stories were vastly different, and through the stories they managed to introduce 1,700 new words into our daily language to trap us. Just think about how we are spelling every day, or the fact that we idolize Hollywood, which is the wood used by witches and wizards to craft their wands and staff. That continues.
Oh my god.
Hollywood. You use Hollywood because it's the...
Like, let me give you an example. One of the words that Shakespeare coined was eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like what part of...
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's like eyeball, there's cold-blooded, that was another one. There's several, you know, and again, I just teach this as part of like, oh, by the way, students, you know, and I joke to the kids that if they ever mess up their spelling really bad, like in English class, just say, oh, sorry, teacher, I was using Old English.
Old English.
So far, no one's done that yet. They would get extra credit from me. But yeah, Hollywood, okay, that gives us an idea of like why. I mean, they know why cities get named after stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood wasn't. Hollywood, California, isn't the first or only city named Hollywood. I think Hollywood, California, is named after Hollywood, North Carolina, or something like that.
Well, even still, it's like there's like it's like the redwood forest that doesn't have anything to do with what redwood was originally used for. It's the fact that there's redwood forest. It's made out of redwood trees. So it's like that's how a lot of this stuff gets named. It's named after what's there, you know?
Yeah, named after the biome.
Yeah, I mean, so what is okay? This area happened to, I don't know. We're looking too much into coincidence.
It's where you make your wands and wizard staffs.
Lives in the words we say. The Bible says that blessings and cursings out of the same mouth, this is my brethren, ought not be. So you might want to be careful of what you say, because the English language.
They did the loop thing there too.
A good loop, you know.
So the English language is an ancient occult language, apparently, and Hollywood, which is somehow related to Shakespeare and Hollywood. All right.
I guess it's kind of refreshing to hear something that doesn't go back to like the Kabbalah, you know, and like, oh, the Jews did it, right? It's kind of refreshing to hear, I guess. But I mean, so what, are we all magical for speaking English? Be careful what you speak into existence. Okay, what am I going to speak into existence?
I wish.
I need something to speak into existence.
I need some gold fingernail polish.
Gold fingernail polish.
There you go.
I have a gold coin. But it's not even gold. I don't know. I got these like cool glasses.
Oh yeah, you got all kinds of cool glasses tonight.
Oh, I do.
You are rocking it, sis.
That's it. Got another pair right here. These are my migraine glasses, the ones that are tinted. These
Yeah.
are good. These
Do
are
they?
the go with the thing.
Yeah.
They hide the eyeshadow.
Oh my gosh, those go really good with your scarf.
Yeah. Look at this. I look like a Hollywood executive.
Yeah, you do. You look like you should be driving in a red convertible.
I look like a drag queen. That's okay.
All right, we got. Let's do one more because we're getting up on 2 hours, and if I go much over 2 hours,
goodness,
yeah. All right, so one more. You have the Planet Express ship behind you.
I do. This is from the episode where they go try to recover this magical honey.
Don't worry.
From space wasps.
Be happy.
It's a reference to the first, the Be Happy song, and it's a reference to the first episode when they get their career chips, and the professor dumps out the career chips and says like contents of space wasps' stomachs.
Yeah, and they find their bodies when they get up there.
Right. And so one of the people in the live chat was saying they don't really like to see bees, so I just put this up instead.
Yeah, I wasn't trying. Oh yeah, I remember somebody saying that wasp were a trigger for them.
Yeah.
And wasp, I get it, but wasp are pollinators too. They do. But anyway, I'm gonna do our last little video. So whatever we scroll down is what we get. Okay. It's like Dennis. Do we need a thumbs up this
Dennis.
one?
Come on, Dennis.
What a strange one to end on. This is.
No, let's do one more. No.
That's obviously not the algorithm. That's just.
What is it? What does it say on the bottom?
That is why I throw the Zen. Old reliable.
No, next. That's
We've
a
been
terrible
talking about the
head.
Temple Mount. You all know the Dome of the Rock.
Okay.
Well, over here, this is the city of David. Down here is where they've discovered the Gihon Springs. They have also, they've found the caves in there. They've excavated these things. This is a big tourist attraction when you go to Israel, Hezekiah's Tunnel. But what nobody mentioned when I was over there, what nobody ever wants to talk about, is the fact that why is the temple then not over here? Even though it's very clear in the Bible that the temple was near the Gihon Springs and it was in Zion, they don't bring that up. Here's one of the caves. There's many pictures. I have pictures that I took when I was there.
It's Tommy McMurtry.
I mean, that looks near. Doesn't that look near to you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to build it on, like, especially if there's these caves here. I'm not going to build a temple in an area that's got a bunch of air pockets under the ground. Why would you do that? It could collapse. I don't understand.
Of this tunnel, it dates back to the time of Hezekiah, and it just lines up perfectly with the Bible. I mean, proving with archaeology that this is, in fact, the location of Solomon's temple. You know, we've been talking about the Temple Mount. You all know the Dome.
I just wanted to get a look at this map here real quick. Okay,
it's
so
not
here,
that far.
here's the spring.
Yeah. When you're talking about building something next to a water source, you don't want to build it on top of the water source. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it could be.
Like, nobody did that. Why would you do that? You can contaminate the water source. You could fall into something if the ground isn't there.
There was actually old lore about that too, building over water that your building would collapse or whatever. Old folklore about that if you built over natural springs and things of that nature.
Yeah, I didn't know about that folklore, but I know about that just because I studied civil engineering.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, you got engineering,
and city design and stuff. Yeah, this is like, that's the thing that I don't understand. Isn't somebody in that audience somewhat experienced with building stuff?
Yeah, or archaeology for that matter. Excavating things.
Yeah, I mean, what ancient city was built on top of the water? Why would you do that?
All right, I'm gonna do one more since that was short. We'll do
Tenochtitlan because the Aztecs, because the gods told them. You know what I mean? But why? Yeah. And Entropy Fan says, build the giant masonry structure on hollow foundations. What could possibly go wrong? Exactly. Okay, Bronze Age borderline nomads were smarter than this guy.
Yes.
No, I agree. And I think, and I do, I'm not saying you're saying this, Entropy Fan, but I do hate when people dismiss the ancient peoples as like these, goat herding desert dwellers. These were intelligent people. They were as smart as us. Obviously, they don't have, smartphones or whatever. But they're, we have the same brains. These are people that understood how to use the land.
Math.
And this idea, they understood all this stuff. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
The guy really doesn't like the idea that the Dome of the Rock was built on the top of the old temple site. Maybe that's what he doesn't like. But isn't that part of the problem with Jerusalem? Is it lines up with these 3 Abrahamic religions?
Yeah, if it fits one religion's prophecy, it ruins the others, and yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do one more because I don't want to end on freaking Tommy McMurtry. I'm sorry.
Can we just do one like on cryptids? Like, why don't we just type in like top 10 cryptid videos?
Okay.
Yeah, because I really like cryptids. I like them because there's a possibility. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, aliens possibility, but that they visited us, But this idea that, oh, there's a wood ape that we haven't really documented because the woods are big, I like that. You know, I like it.
All right, so we
Top
have
10 mysterious creatures and cryptids. Oh, I just hope it doesn't have that guy's voice. Who's that guy? Like, number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
Oh yeah, chills.
He just sounds like he doesn't want to read any of this.
Like he doesn't really
like a gun to his head.
care.
Read the script. All right, guys. I'll read the script if you tell me to. You know, they were ignorant, not unintelligent. Perfect. Yes, I like it.
What's up, guys? I'm Dean, aka the Blue Crusader. Welcome back to the channel.
We got the Blue
You may
Crusader.
have heard tales of creepy creatures unconfirmed by science, or strange beings that lurk the woods at night. You may even believe in some of them. Today we're going to be counting down the top 10 cryptids and myths. Number 10, Mothman. Hailing from the US state of West Virginia, Mothman is strange and an unexplained urban legend. Mothman is one of the most recognizable cryptids to many today. But where did it come from, and what are its origins?
What's up?
I like how he's got like a fuzzy moth bush.
Yeah, he's gotta protect his moth
It's
junk.
like the moth dust. What is the moth dust called anyway?
It's scales.
That is ew. I think that's an STD. All right, so Mothman. What's the next one? 'Cause Mothman's probably a big bird.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
Mothman was an owl. Mermaid.
What? What? We're gonna cover up art.
Thing you may have seen in films or
You want to see them titties?
Wow. Wow.
This is like classic art too.
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre?
perhaps even from old material dating back to Greek mythology. However, they are also cryptids. As you may know, fictionally, mermaids appear as half humans and half fish creatures. Humanoids with the upper abdomen of a human and the lower.
They cover his nipples too.
Yeah, at least equality, right?
Yeah, it's egalitarian censorship.
That's great.
Half tail of a fish. Sightings of these creatures come from perhaps unexpected sources, one of them being Christopher Columbus himself. Columbus
saw a manatee.
He saw, and also there was a claim that Columbus saw a USO, an unidentified submerged object, that it came out from under the water. It was like the shining orb, and it flew into space. So there's that.
Yep, I'm familiar with that too. Columbus, and there was other things that he reported that for a long time were considered fictional. Like there was some kind of algae or something that glowed on the front of that caused the front of this boat to glow. Yeah.
Do we have any good ones like the mermaid? Okay, we know.
All right, we got gargoyles, black cats.
Like let's try top 10, or let's try cryptid compilation caught on film. Maybe that's a better Google foo. You know what I'm talking about with the terms, the search term. Cryptid caught on camera or something.
Yeah, let's try.
So
let's try 2022. Cryptid caught on trail cam 2022. Let's see what that is. The most disturbing creatures caught on.
Hello everyone, I'm back, and today I'm here to maximize your fear. 2022
I just really
has been
feel
a
hungry
year
for
filled...
ramen right now.
He's got that same kind of tenor that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, but he's also got top ramen hair.
Yeah, now you want ramen.
I'm hungry for that ramen.
With many strange things caught on trail cameras. From weird,
Yeah,
unidentified...
he does. You're right, that voice.
Yeah.
Many strange things caught on trail cameras. What is
creatures
this?
to
A duck?
killers and to many other unexplainable phenomena. So today I decided to highlight some of the most chilling and downright horrifying trail camera clips from my channel this year. So grab your popcorn and allow your fear to be maximized as we recap the scariest trail camera clips from Maximum Fear in 2022.
Maximum Fear.
Botox redone, 'cause face is just like stuck.
This trail cam picture out of Georgia has been going viral. This very strange and unexplainable picture shows a strange eye peering into a trail camera mounted deep in the woods. The property owners set up a trail cam to capture wildlife and to see what types of animals roam the forest, and they never expected to catch anything like this. Everyone is shocked and completely puzzled by this photo.
Why are we so shocked by this? It's an animal's eye looking into the camera. I don't...
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a lot of different species. It's hard to tell from this angle.
Right.
It's not a feline. I'll say that.
Somebody said it reminds me of Pauly Shore from Biodome. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Photo. What animal could this possibly be? Some people say it looks like a dog or a cat, but the eye is just so human-like. But the face is...
Well, I mean...
Is it?
It's the sclera that make people think it's human, like that white section right there. But any animal, if it's looking at if it turns its eyes the right way, you're gonna see sclera.
Even dogs and stuff, when they move their eyes to the side too much, it's the same thing.
This is covered in hair, and you can also almost make out an eyebrow just above the eye. What the heck could this creature?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that was anything cryptical.
I'm not. Why does he look so bored?
Yeah, he sounds bored too. We had to speed him up to keep him.
A photo that humans were not meant to see.
Humans were not meant to see it, guys.
A group of friends were out exploring the woods late one night. They brought along a camera to take pictures. They continued on deep into the woods, taking pictures along the way. As they continued their expedition, they captured this one specific picture that none of them could explain. They did not realize there was anything strange in the picture until after, when they were examining the photos more closely. One of their photos captured a pale-looking hand wrapped around a tree, as if something was grabbed.
Where?
This?
Oh. What, like a mushroom?
Yeah, because I see like white sections on this up here too.
Yeah.
There's another one up there. So.
Does that look like a hand, or does that look like pareidolia?
Yeah, let's see if they get a.
This
is the picture.
Venturing in the woods and capturing a random hand that you didn't know was there. But once they upped the brightness and zoomed in on where the hand was, it revealed something far more terrifying. If you look closely, you can also see a pale and horrifying face just.
That is not. See, we still got these right here, but I didn't see that before. Did you?
Know.
Did you?
Yeah, right. Show again. I think once they edit it a lot, because it looks like they've changed some of the color and the brightness.
I wonder if they blurred it here to keep it ambiguous until you get until they were able to show you before they were able to show you that these pictures like that. But
right. I don't know. Maybe one of their friends went to take a piss.
Yeah.
And then they took a picture, because that's why he's like off to the side, right? And so he's obviously showing all what's over here. Maybe they did that just to mess with one of their buddies. Because I mean, who among us, right?
Yeah.
So, if your friend's, pissing behind the tree, you flash in their direction. It's just funny. You know what I mean? Like they see the flash go off for a second before the camera takes the picture. And the dude's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. And it's like, "What?" He's like standing there, and then
assuming it's not like a fungus. I still think it's some kind of fungus.
Stalked by some strange creature, and they had no idea. As you can see in the photo, they were just trying to take an innocent picture of one of their friends with the woods in the background. Who knew they would have caught this? This terrifying and unexplainable picture is leaving people baffled to this day. The people who took these photos said that they were just going for an innocent hike and were not trying to catch anything creepy. What could this strange creature be? Could it be a skinwalker?
What would be weird is that, for me, just the size, like the head looked really small compared to the size of the forearm and the hand.
And how low it was to the ground too.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't have it had really short legs. Yeah.
Right.
Never know, and maybe it should stay that way, because who knows what kind of
Christian dude from before giving the hand a sinning gang symbol.
This terrifying and unexplainable photo was captured deep in the woods at around midnight. The owner of the camera said they.
What's that?
Can we see anything before they tell us what to look for?
Maybe like a blur of something right there. Is this a?
I'm having trouble. Let's check it out. Let's see what they say.
Checked out the trail cam and found this photo. They were puzzled by this because what kind of creature could produce an eye shine so tall and wide? This photo was posted to Reddit to see if anyone could make sense of it. One commenter said, "I think it could be Bigfoot. If you observe the position of the eyes, it shows that
it's something in the woods. Got to be Bigfoot."
Okay, but wait. If it's Bigfoot and it's an ape, and we're apes,
we don't have eye shine.
Yeah, I don't. I don't understand.
I tried to bring that argument to Squatch Talk, which is Pat Turner's channel. He does conversations with Erica Gibbon a lot about Bigfoot and stuff, but I don't understand how they can say it's an ape when it has eye shine. Clearly has eye shine, which is tapium. Was it tapius luteum or whatever? The section of the eye that causes the reflection. Humans lack that. Primates lack that.
Yeah, that would be a weird thing.
The eyes are between 6 to 10 inches apart, displaying a position that humans have, both eyes pointing forward. Humans on average have their eyes 4 inches apart. My only plausible theory is that you got yourself the reflection of Bigfoot eyes. Now, it's not proven that this is Bigfoot or that Bigfoot...
a bear standing up, an elk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people forget how large some of these animals are. I don't know about an elk though, because an elk, their eyes are on the sides,
yeah, that's true.
Forward. But something like a mountain lion coming down from a tree or climbing up a tree,
or even a raccoon in a tree,
the rest of it, and it notices a noise or a glint of something because it catches the trail cam a certain way. It might look over for a second, or it's Mothman.
Or Mothman, but not Bigfoot.
That's it.
Is even real. However, this photo looks a lot like this clip that I showed in the last trail cam video.
Or wait. Well, that may be whatever, but
that looks like reflections, though.
Yeah, the other one could be just like vehicle tires. And some of these trail cams are set up to just take pictures every 10 seconds of motion.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's somebody's vehicle slowly coming around the bend,
Yeah, I'll give it like a tracer.
I have Sasquatch relatives. I am part Squatch. We were talking about my brilliant mustache earlier.
See, this looks like just reflection there.
It does, yeah.
As you can see, they both had similar reflecting eyes at a similar height and a similar width. It does not look like it could be any normal earthly creature. Is this really Bigfoot, or is it some other strange unknown creature that lurks in the shadows?
Yep, it's aliens.
It's probably
Have you ever heard of zombie deer before? Zombie deer are 100% real, and there are many people who have caught them on camera. There is a deadly disease that causes deer and other animals to become limp.
Like, is it the one with the fungus?
Yeah, I think it's the ones that have like the growths on them and stuff.
Zombies. Chronic wasting disease, also known as CWD, is a disease that affects deer, elk, reindeer, and moose. It has been found in some areas of North America, including Canada and the United States, Norway, and South Korea. It is a highly contagious neurological disease that causes holes to appear in the brain and makes the affected act completely irrational and strange. CWD is always fatal, and there are no treatments or vaccines. Today, there have been no reported cases.
Irrational?
Was that?
Do they mean erratic instead of irrational? Because I can't imagine like a rational deer. Like,
when is a deer?
Hey, we're gonna do this because tomorrow.
Yeah, deer aren't famous for their ability to rationalize, right?
You're right. My dear professor.
Of CWD infection in people. However, some animal studies suggest CWD poses a risk to certain types of non-human primates, like monkeys, that eat meat from CWD-infected animals or come in contact with brain or body fluids from infected deer or elk. These studies raise concerns that there may also be a risk to people. So far, no humans have contracted this zombie disease. Here is some real footage of zombie deer.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, that's sad. That's not like, oh, ha ha ha, cool. What is this? This is like an animal suffering. Just shoot it and put it out.
It's a sick animal.
Yeah. Why are we like trying to make it like, oh, it could be zombies? Let me show you some clips of The Walking Dead. Like, this is just sad.
Animal with a disease.
Yeah.
As you can see in the footage, the deer steps right on the fire and is completely unfazed. It slowly walks into the deep river and vanishes under the water. So if you ever see a zombie deer in person...
Well, deer have thick layers of keratin on the bottom of their feet. We call them hooves. And they actually prevent them from having to worry about walking through burning ash. At least, I mean, obviously you wouldn't want deer couldn't just live permanently in that way. They can pass through a fire pit with cinders in it and be all right. They have hooves.
Yeah, they're mentioning prions. Definitely we don't want to eat that deer meat for sure then.
Yeah, prions.
Can't that out.
That's why cannibalism's bad.
But there's about 20% of the population that's immune to it.
It's immune to it?
Because of our shared cannibalistic past.
Oh boy.
I know.
stay as far away as possible. So earlier I talked about zombie deer, but the deer
No, you didn't. You just talked about zombie deer. Not earlier.
Yeah, right. This guy's eyebrows are freaking me out. Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to make fun of him just in case he's got, you know, some situation. But I mean, if you drew him on wrong, you know.
Yeah, I've been there. I've gone to work like that with them drawn on wrong, so I can sympathize.
This footage does not appear to have CWD, but it definitely should not be alive. The deer in this footage has a massive wound on the front right of its body. I had to blur it out because it's too gruesome to show on YouTube. The whole right side of the deer's body is practically missing, yet it is still
I
walking.
thought we were trying to see like cryptids and stuff. Now we're just looking at like, let's gawk at damaged and suffering deer. Let's move on. Yeah, move to something else. Like I want to see something that looks like fig. You know, I don't want to see like deers.
Here's some Bigfoot structures.
By a solo explorer who was hiking in the mountains in Alberta, Canada. His hike was normal until he eventually stumbled upon a strange makeshift shelter in a clearing. The shelter was huge and was made up of massive trees and branches. Even more trees and large branches were broken around the area, suggesting that something powerful was lurking there. The lone hiker was curious how the shelter had gotten there, so he decided to strap his trail camera to a nearby tree. Afterwards, he proceeded with his adventure, leaving his trail camera. After only a few hours, a notification detecting movement appeared on his device. And what
do you think? Think we're gonna get a Sasquatch?
That's it. It's gonna get the Ted Kaczynski.
Ted Kaczynski. Yeah, I think that when we find these things out in the forest like that, it is recluses and people living off the grid doing this stuff.
His trail camera captured was something that no one was supposed to see. The trail cam captured an image of an unknown massive beast. The animal was completely covered in hair and it was insanely tall. The explorer was 100% certain that this was indeed a Sasquatch. And as we zoom in and take a closer look at these photos, the evidence becomes even more compelling. No one is quite sure, but if Bigfoot is real, this is exactly what Bigfoot would look like.
No one's really sure, but if Bigfoot was real, this is exactly what Bigfoot would look like.
It looks like a guy in a ghillie suit.
Yeah.
There are often many strange videos captured out in nature, but this one will completely blow your mind. On Wednesday, October 17th, 2018, a video taken in Sacre-Coeur, Quebec, captured practically everyone's attention. A man innocently hiking through the forest stopped dead in his tracks when he came across this phenomenon. All of a sudden, the forest began coming to life right in front of his eyes.
I would run because I feel like volcanic something or other. You know what I mean?
This is that is actually the wind causing that because of the peaty ground underneath there.
Yeah, something. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, one of those trees might come down on you.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you get that close?
Forest is seen breathing. However, this is actually not as terrifying as you think. The Earth is not actually coming to life. While forests do not breathe per se, the trees that reside in them do, by taking in carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen in a process called photosynthesis. But what is causing this very rare sight is loose soil and intense winds. When the ground is loose enough and the winds are sufficiently strong, it can cause trees to sway back and forth, pulling at their web of roots and loosening the surrounding soil. Eventually, this is what makes the forest appear to breathe with life. Even though this is a natural occurrence, it does not stop it from being.
I was hoping for, you know, monsters.
Monsters. Let's find some monsters.
Do we have monsters?
Ooh, I know this one, but I don't think you've seen this one yet. So
I don't know. Let's find out.
A very strange and unexplainable piece of footage got the internet talking. The video shows a group of people riding dirt bikes through what looks like a remote forest. They were riding on a trail in Sumatra, Indonesia. They ride their dirt bikes for some time until unexpectedly the biker in the front of the pack crashes and falls over. It's unknown at first why he fell over until a small naked humanoid figure is seen sprinting away from the site. The man with the camera mounted on his helmet decides to speed after the strange being to try to figure out what it was. After chasing it for a few seconds, the being leaps into the brush on the side of the road, never to be seen again. The group stops at the spot for a while to look for it, only to come up empty-handed.
What about that one?
I don't know, just a funky child.
It was actually a not uncontacted, but an indigenous people, a pygmy population that lives in that forest there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be mad if people were driving through too.
Yeah, probably scary. A bunch of giant people on motorcycles.
Yeah, for sure.
Creature completely vanished. People on the internet have lots of theories as to what
came from.
What's that?
Is this where the giants came from in these old stories? Was it just taller people? Like they mentioned, remember we talked about that earlier in the stream?
Mm-hmm.
And they were mentioning all these different giants and stuff. Is it just like Vikings showed up?
Yeah, I mean, it's
a Swede, you know, and then was that it?
I mean, if you think about it, like right now there's enough diversity. There's enough diversity between different people groups, right? Different genetic populations to cause like this kind of reaction to seeing each other back in the 20,000, 30,000 years ago when there were more species of humans wandering around. It was even more.
For sure, and there's evidence that Europeans had come into North America way before Columbus ever did. So that doesn't seem too ridiculous to me.
Yeah, like they called them the Scrigilians or whatever is what the Vikings called the Native Americans when they first came into Vinland.
That one I'm not sure.
To Vinland.
But I do think that's pretty cool that was just like actually a person from one of those uncontacted tribes. That's even better, I think, than anything else this could have been.
Than a monster. Okay, so next we're gonna do. Is he gonna talk about the Pedro mummy?
Could be. Some think it could be some sort of goblin or humanoid who was disturbed by their loud bikes. Other viewers guessed it could be a man who was a member of the Lost Mob tribe, a clan of forest gypsies which rarely make contact with modern society.
That is the Pedro mummy. It was found in a one of the Anasazi ruins, the cliffside cities. They think it was probably a infant with birth defects, but it disappeared.
Yeah, it looks like microcephaly and stuff.
Microcephaly, exactly.
Yeah.
To be much smaller than the average human. They are also very skittish, fleeing upon seeing outsiders. It is said that they originated from Homo floresiensis.
That's what I was thinking too. The Hobbit.
Yeah, Homo floresiensis.
Yeah.
A close relative of humans, characterized by their excessive.
All right, thank you, Monkey for Banana. Skrylings is what they called the Native Americans. What the Vikings called them in their saga. Which saga is that? Is that the saga of? Is it the Vinland saga? Monkey for Banana, let me know. Anyway, here.
Growth problems. However, scientists are yet to fully confirm these theories. Most scientists say that this is impossible and that this video is just staged. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
No mention of the fact that it was could possibly been one of the members of these indigenous people groups that lived in this area.
It's got to be some kind of cryptid or
relic human population of like Homo floresiensis and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. What's next?
The Grim Reaper. Death is frequently imagined as a personified force. In some mythologies, a character known as the Grim Reaper causes the victim's death by coming to collect that person's soul. The Grim Reaper is a skeleton dressed in a black robe holding a scythe. Whether it is just a mythical being or an actual entity, it is definitely downright spine-chilling. This trail camera snapped a photo of the Grim Reaper, or rather someone dressed as the Grim Reaper late one night.
I mean, if I knew there was a trail camera, I would dress up this way and just harass people.
Yeah.
For fun.
Oh, I would dress up as Jason Voorhees and walk through there all the time.
Especially if I got really upset. Maybe I didn't want this trail cam. Maybe it's right on our board, our land border. What's the word I'm thinking of? And I don't like that my neighbors got this camera pointed towards my property.
Yeah.
Maybe I would just dress up just to mess with them. I don't know.
Have some fun. Make it a game.
Maybe we do that with each other. Maybe there's two friends and one of them does that. So somebody posted this picture, said, hey, my buddy and I, you really got me. I freaked out for a second. And then someone else was like, the Grim Reaper's real. Someone got it on a trail cam.
What about this says that it's anything supernatural?
I don't know. The fact that there's no face, I don't know.
But you could, I could just be wearing.
No, I know. There's nothing I can think of.
Like pantyhose over their head or something.
It's very corporeal.
The location of the picture is unknown. When this image surfaced, people began to speculate that the Grim Reaper could be roaming the forest, whereas others thought that it was just a prank attempting to scare the owner of the trail camera.
Why would the
There have
Grim
been no
Reaper
further
be
updates
roaming
by
the
the trail.
forest? Is it here to claim all the deer that are dying?
From that disease they talked about earlier.
Yeah, what's the purpose? Like, hey, I'm the Grim Reaper, and I'm gonna go around where there's no people. I mean,
well, we should not assume that the Grim Reaper doesn't like to go for a nice hike, though.
maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Oh, all those people that get like missing, and then they're found dead on a hike.
Missing 411 right here.
That's it. Appalachian Trail. That's it. That's it.
Okay, owner, but either way, real or fake, this photo is still enough to give you the creeps.
The Grim Reaper just.
This guy was hanging out in his own backyard, burning some leaves on his woodland property, but it was at this moment that his camera picked up something.
I've seen this one before. I think this is just a trespasser.
Something scary enough to send shivers down your spine. He filmed a quick selfie video of him burning leaves that he thought nothing of, until many of his followers began pointing out something strange that happened in the background in the forest. If you look closely, a dark figure is seen sprinting very fast through the trees towards the back of the forest. It's hard to make out what this creature could possibly be, but it's definitely not some ordinary forest creature, and it's also not human.
Why is it not a human? It's definitely a human.
It doesn't look not human to me in particular.
It's somebody obviously trying to get the heck out of there because the forest is on fire.
Especially if it's like, oh, is this a crime or something?
I mean, I don't know if he was trespassing on the dude's land or whatever, but he was booking it.
I got him.
Oh, there's the big boy. Let me pull you up real quick.
This is clearly not a real cat. It must be a cryptid.
We don't. I think that Hans Wormhat wouldn't believe that was a real cat. Oh, it does have. It has the main human face.
Look at his size. He's ultra size. I can't even show him.
What is he about?
9 kilos. He's 20 pounds.
20 pounds. He's got the human face thing going on that they do too, like with the nose and stuff. Such a pretty boy.
You don't even take any bath.
Oh, he loves his mama, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. That's it. All right, you can go now. He doesn't like being on camera. He's very shy. He doesn't have a lot of good commentary to provide.
Yeah. If we had some cats on here, you might have some thoughts.
That's it.
Went viral, and despite millions of views, still no one is able to determine what it is. Some people speculate that the creature
literally looks like a person booking it.
Yeah, someone running away from the guy setting the forest on fire, which makes sense to me. I like this art though. This art is awesome, but
definitely
Bigfoot. But unfortunately, this is the only clip we have of it, and the man has reportedly never seen the beast again. Other people think it's an undiscovered species or an alien or something paranormal. It's likely that the unidentified beast was startled by the rapidly spreading fire and ultimately decided to run.
Why is it a beast? He doesn't look ridiculously big or anything.
This is like a normal person, maybe wearing.
He's not running away on all fours.
Not even wearing a ghillie suit. It's not a person.
Yeah, it just looks like a dude. Maybe he was like a person who doesn't have a house and he's just hanging out there. I don't know.
Maybe he was sitting with his hand.
That's it. He was just sitting with his hand, and then the fires of hell came to
Yeah,
him.
that makes sense. Full circle, girl. You took it full circle again.
Full triangle, Trinity. That's it.
For his life, only to be accidentally caught by this guy's camera for a split second. Whatever this strange creature is, it is definitely one of the scariest things we've seen in a while.
No, I mean, the only thing terrifying is that if he couldn't run away fast enough, he would have been really hurt by the fire.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't see that it's anything but a guy.
You hear all kinds of weird sounds in the woods all the time. The random screams of bobcats, mountain lions, and foxes can curdle blood even when you know the source. But when you hear wild wails like the ones captured on video by a hunter deep in the Ontario woods in 2019, and you can't pinpoint the source, it can be enough to make you want to pack your stuff and head away from the hills. Here is what the hunter caught on camera.
I think this is sky trumpets. You know what sky trumpets are, right?
Are you talking about the ones that herald the end of the world?
Yeah, that they think that they're blasting all over the world right now, randomly.
As you can hear, some sort of unidentified, bone-chilling screams were coming from deep in the woods. The man who captured this video said, I went grouse hunting in Ontario, Canada when we heard these screams. It lasted for around 5 minutes, but I only got 3 minutes and 5 seconds of it on video, and I have 2 minutes and 15 seconds of it here. It happened on October 3rd, 2019 at 6:50 p.m. A commenter also pointed out that the screams sounded like they were getting closer at a very fast pace. So what kind of animal could possibly mean, and you can't pinpoint the source, it can be enough to make you want to pack your stuff and head away from the hills.
Again.
Here is what the hunter caught on camera.
I guess.
As you can hear, some sort of unidentified, bone-chilling screams were coming from deep in the woods.
I don't know. I don't know if that sounds like unidentified bone-chilling screams. But there's a lot of stuff that sounds pretty funky in the forest. Like a vixen screaming sounds horrible. Rabbits, those sound so frightening.
Foxes make some crazy sounds.
Yeah. They're weird. Night rats.
All right, I need to. Nope, not do that. Dang it. Hold on, just a second. There we go.
Farm machinery on the other side of the hill. That's a good point. It could be something that's totally like human created. Absolutely. Pissed off moose. Yeah.
a lot of A lot of theories.
The man who captured this video said, I went grouse hunting in Ontario, Canada when we heard these screams. It lasted for around 5 minutes, but I only got 3 minutes and 5 seconds of it on video, and I have 2 minutes and 15 seconds of it here. It happened on October 3rd, 2019 at 6:50 p.m. A commenter also pointed out that the screams sounded like they were getting closer at a very fast pace. So what kind of animal could possibly make strange sounds like this? Many commenters were quick to point out that they thought it was Bigfoot or some sort of unidentified creature lurking in the woods. Still, no scientists or anyone at all have been able to pinpoint what caused that noise. Let me know what you guys think it was in the comments. Trail cams have captured some truly bizarre things throughout the years. These cameras are used to capture wildlife and nature. The trail cam in this story captured something that no trail camera had ever captured before. Something far more disturbing. Did you ever think that a trail camera would help solve a murder case? Well, that's exactly what happened on February 29th, 2020, in Bossier City, Louisiana. Earlier that week, a man named Garrett Wilson was reported missing from his hometown in Bossier City. The police and detectives did a thorough investigation and ended up discovering his remains on a woodland property in northern Bossier Parish that was used for hunting. Since the area was a popular hunting spot, there were trail cameras posted almost everywhere. So detectives ended up taking a look at all of the trail cam footage, and what they found was absolutely chilling. A 45-year-old man named John Hardy was captured on one of the hunting trail cameras on the property where Wilson's remains were found. The camera captured still photographs of him standing next to a burn pile, and the clothes that Garrett Wilson was last seen wearing were piled up next to him. The police located John Hardy and took him into custody. He was ultimately charged with second-degree murder and
That's kind of cool, though.
obstruction of justice in connection with Wilson's death. He's currently held on a $1.3 million bond, and his trial is still ongoing. The photo of the killer that was caught in the trail cam was never released to the public, probably because it was far too graphic for anyone.
Yeah, and he's not a disturbing creature, right? It says disturbing creature.
To see. This video
Man is the most disturbing creature of all.
That's it.
It was uploaded to YouTube on November 5th, 2022 by a channel named Homesteading Off the Grid. At first the video seems like any other normal trail cam video. Then you can hear some rustling noises coming from under the camera.
Steven's knocked over the microphone. Must be getting to the truth.
The rustling comes to a stop, and about a minute later, a horrifying figure is spotted moving around in the bushes.
Okay, what's this figure? That looks like a bird, doesn't it?
Is it horrifying? How is it horrifying?
Closer. You can now see what looks like a man in a dark robe with a strange mask on.
Oh,
He
that
appears
does
to be
look...
walking on his knees. The man continues creeping closer and closer, and then eventually disappears into the darkness.
But it also looks like...
It is truly unknown what this trail camera
captured. If we want to make our
captured.
channel more famous, what could be something that we could easily throw together to look creepy? That's something that I would do.
Yeah,
You know what
so I have noticed a trend for these cryptid videos lately, and it's just an ongoing trend where they're these homesteading channels that just they do. Somebody moved moved onto a farm and is trying to make a go at homesteading, right? And they have a YouTube channel, and then all of a sudden they start having something like this happen and catching snippets of stuff. So I don't know. It's like a trend with homesteading channels. I think one of the ones we saw earlier was
like what a found footage stream or something. You know what I mean? Like instead of a movie, it's like a found footage reality show almost.
Right.
Before wants a cracker, gobble gobble. It's a scam turkey. You know. Yeah, the crop circles they're not as exciting once we know how to do it, right? But I thought at first it looked like it was on top of the tree, and it looked like, you know how birds will do this kind of movement?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of moving along a branch and just making the bobbing, but then once it kind of went around the bend, it was a little different.
Was this someone just playing a prank, or is some psycho lurking in the woods?
Someone playing a prank, walking on their knees.
The footage that I'm about to show was captured by an outdoor enthusiast as they enjoyed a hike through the Appalachian Mountains.
Blair Witch
after what they
was.
saw during this hike might make them never want to hike again. This unsettling video shows an unidentified creature watching the hiker from behind the log. Whatever this is definitely not want to be seen, as it attempts to hide behind the fallen tree.
I don't know, it looks like a raccoon with no
characteristic
ears.
that is frequently associated with cryptids and other strange beings.
You
The
know what I
animal
mean?
almost looks like a seal, but obviously they do not.
What's that?
It looks like a raccoon, but its ears are chewed off or something.
Yeah,
So
something.
there's a like that, you know, or an opossum.
It's something.
Yeah,
that-
how exactly can you be off the grid and on YouTube? I had the same question mark.
Live in forests. The person who took this video and everyone else cannot figure out what this creature is. Whatever it is, it's apparent.
I mean, it's cute.
No, let's see again.
Not figure out what this creature is. Whatever it is, it's apparent there are some very strange things.
I don't know. It could be a dog playing hide and seek with his ears back or something.
So there's the natural instinct to try to think that these are the eyes,
That's true.
and I don't know that those are actually eyes.
That's true.
Because nothing about them, other than them being darker than the surrounding, indicates that they're eyes. There could be.
Things lurking in the woods of the Appalachian Mountains.
I do see what they're talking about with it looking like a seal, though. I can see that, but...
This group of photos was captured on a hunting plot deep in the woods. The exact location of where these photos were taken is unknown. But as you can see in the first picture, the photo displays a deer and a raccoon minding their own business, but seen directly above them is some sort of strange light. The second photo taken minutes later shows the exact same thing, but the deer has disappeared, and the light has intensified. The trail cam owners said that there was absolutely no way for this light to be there, as this is deep in the woods. This light could not have been attached to anything. It was just appearing in the air. When this
I bet the light could be attached to a helicopter.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Or a drone.
Yeah.
Probably a helicopter, though, looking for somebody or something.
Why wouldn't it be attached to anything? It does remind me of that episode. I think it was one of the early episodes of the X-Files where those kids keep going into the woods. That's what it definitely reminds me of.
Picture was released to the public, people had many questions that they needed answers to. One theory that people had was that this was an alien abduction caught on camera. The light almost looks as if it is a spotlight shining down. Could this be from a UFO attempting to abduct the animals? People came up with
abducted a deer.
Yeah, that was it.
This theory because the deer just disappeared in the next photo. Could the deer have been abducted by aliens? That is just a theory, and no one truly knows what caused this strange phenomenon miles back in the woods. If you guys have any other theories, go ahead and let us know in the comments down below.
I think they do this on purpose, where it looks really easy to kind of debunk or just say, no, it could easily be a drone, oh, it could easily be a helicopter, because that encourages you to post it in the comment section, which encourages the algorithm.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of videos like that lately that are just there to kind of mildly piss you off, so you comment on it, and then that increases the reach.
You get annoyed and say, no, that's a freaking bird. Yeah, like you said, bopping around or whatever, something like that.
Exactly.
30th, 2017, a man named Erwin Saunders would upload a very strange and unexplainable video to YouTube. In the video, the man claims that he is able to communicate with some sort of mysterious forest creatures who seem to only come out after a rainy day. He sits under a tree and talks for quite some time. And
doesn't it look like he does like trail magic or something?
Yeah, he does. I'm familiar with this channel too. I don't think there's any. You'll see.
Watching up behind me on that ledge. Is it? I think I've got the right spot. Hold on. Oh, he's just there. Ah, you see? That was a quick glimpse there. No, he's not there. Oh, sorry about that. He was doing it. Oh, there he is. Okay, it's there.
Oh, it's a little frog.
No, just a little CGI.
Oh, that's cute though. It looks like a fairy.
That's what his channel is. He's got more clear ones. And they like this one because it looks like a real cryptid video where it's off in the distance. He's got ones with more up close CGI where he interacts with them and stuff.
I mean, that's cute, you know.
That's what he does. He does like fairy lore videos and talks about them and goes and interacts with them in the wild. But someone clipped a little piece of his and said, "Hey, this is allegedly legitimate." But yeah.
All those other ones are fake, but this one that's on the channel that fakes it, this is not fake.
Right. A very small, unearthly creature peering over the cliff's edge right behind him. This footage is definitely very weird, and I personally have never seen anything like it before. So let me know.
Yeah, because it's CGI, so.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right.
That's another thing is that if I'm trying to catch this, whatever it is, and it's so amazing, I've never seen anything like it, then why am I going to use the selfie cam? You know?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense. So.
And my video feed's been awful today. Somebody's in there playing Red Dead Redemption is why I think my video feed is so bad. But what do you got coming up, Miss Lemon?
Well, I've got another thing to read, and I'm not looking forward to it. In the latest video I did about Islam, there was a reference to a sociologist or psychologist who proved that children are monotheistic by nature, even though they've never been exposed to any type of religion whatsoever, which of course sounded very suspicious. And when I tried to find the actual article for this, it was not exactly what I was looking for, and then there was a book. So I'm not really looking forward to doing that one because I said, oh, I'll take care of it in another video, and then immediately got disappointed that I roped myself into that. I'm also thinking to do some eating videos because I got some odds and ends that I didn't finish up in 2022, so I'm just gonna randomly eat and drink things. Good times. Good times.
I like watching Miss Lemon's eating videos too. She's willing to try just about anything. So
yep, big bites, no hesitation, and I try to describe it as best as I can because I don't assume that you guys are going to be eating the same stuff. So eating stuff like intestines or spider, things like that, I try to describe it as well as I can. Yeah.
All right. Well.
Right.
Always fun to hang out with you, Miss Lemon.
Absolutely, you too. I'm glad that I had some time to come on.
Yeah, this was fun. We'll have to revisit Denis Hovind at another time, but you can look for him. Yeah, some people knew that was me, and some people didn't. So some people actually argue with me in side chats and stuff about it.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
It's like I gotta keep his algorithm going. I think we did add to it today, though. We made a good dent in that, in making sure that he gets all the right wing woo stuff coming in. Oh, I need to get some sleep because I'm tired. Oh. All right, so that was a good face for it to freeze on. Please remember to be. Let me stop my camera. Please remember to be kind and take care, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us.
All right, so they're watching the video.